Welcome to Nerdrotic Live. And the first episode of, I don't know, hopefully many, talking about ancient civilizations, the ancient apocalypse, everything Graham Handcock and Randall Carlson talk about. But we're going to mainly talk about the Netflix special, which it's freaking awesome. It's awesome.
Great.
Dude, it's fantastic.
I want to watch it again.
Oh, we're going to, because this won't be our only live stream on it. We're only going to cover probably a little bit of it tonight.
And we have the
how do you
JRE episode.
Yeah.
And that they bring in so many other things into the conversations. Like Randall, he dropped that little, I can't really talk about it.
Yeah, he was like, I don't want to talk about it.
But I'm going to talk about it a little bit. Let me just tease you with.
We invented time travel, okay? And what?
Well, how?
It's like perpetual energy. It's forever,
Joe's like, well, how do you power it? And Randall's like,
I guess I'll have to come back.
Asmoids. And I'm like,
you can't do that. I need to know.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But he was really trying to worry, because Randall can't do anything brief at all.
True. Right.
That's
so
why
he knew. He was like, I can't get into it, because if I do, this is going to be a whole nother show.
Listen to his Atlantis thing. I paid for it on HowTube. It's 7 hours.
Holy crap.
And that's the broken down version from the longer version he did on YouTube, which is like 12 hours. So, and
I started listening to his sacred geometry breakdown, and it is very detailed and very long-winded. But it's interesting because I did listen to somebody and he referenced it in the Joe Rogan. He was like, oh, well, if you've seen my sacred geometry. And I was like, oh, I kind of did. I saw some of it. But it's interesting because I know what he was referring to, those resonance to each of the elements. And it's very interesting. Mm-hmm. I'm excited, man.
Yes, and the fact that can like power something is I can't even get my brain around that. But I'll have to watch more of his sacred geometry.
Yeah.
Hey, I just found out they're doing a conference in Asheville, North Carolina. It's Randall and Graham and Jimmy from the Bright Side and somebody else next June 16th through 18th. Early bird tickets are available. Just Google Randall Carlson, you'll see it. A little pricey,
nice.
A little pricey, but I'd say worth going. It's a 3-day event, and they're tons of fun. I used to go to a Contact in the Desert all the time. They stopped doing it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did they not do that anymore?
They don't do it anymore, but it was like the Lollapalooza of UFO and ancient civilizations. Was fucking awesome, man. I loved it.
Cool, nice.
All right. I don't know. I guess we could just start at the beginning. Hang on. Well, first we'll introduce ourselves and say hi to the chat. Hello, chat. How are you?
Chat, hello.
What's up?
Hey,
introduce yourself, Quarter Black Garrett.
Hey, my name's Quarter Black Garrett. I'm ready to talk about some ancient civilizations and the possibilities, and why are archaeologists so hell-bent on not accepting any new information? I find that very weird. Like, your whole job is to discover, and why would you be so dogmatic about the possibilities of what could be? I don't know.
Well,
I'm
Garrett,
excited to get into it.
The science is settled. I don't know if you know. The past couple of years, we've recognized the science is settled.
The science is settled. I was watching our boy Kurt Metzger on Jimmy Dore. I'm not too super familiar with the guy, but I love his term for the science said here on YouTube. It's YouTube science. So according to the YouTube science, it's settled. Might be a way to save Adam from getting a strike and ending up on Friday Night Tights again. But
hey,
cross those
science. So we're going to talk a lot about YouTube science tonight.
Yeah, YouTube science,
because like Susan Wojcicki is she's a scientist.
And
she's next.
She loves me too, by the way.
She's about as qualified to be a scientist as a CEO to YouTube.
Hey. Sounds like Bill Gates.
Well, she had a garage.
There's a Bill Gates joke in there somewhere too.
He had a garage that she rented out. Yeah. Just like in Silicon Valley.
I don't know anything about her, I'll be honest.
I'd rather TJ Miller was the CEO of YouTube and not Susan Wojcicki, but that's just me.
Probably better.
Erlich Bachman, one of the greatest shows ever made. Okay.
So good.
Say it. Hello, Adam Crigler from the Crigler Show. Welcome, sir.
It is wonderful to be here. I really do want to thank you, Gary, because you introduced me to Randall Carlson when you were on my show many months ago. And I went on a deep dive because I also really love ancient civilizations. Yeah, I really love Egyptian everything. Tesla, he was obsessed with Egypt and trying to figure out and reverse engineer the technology that he knew that they had unlocked. And I haven't stopped paying attention to Graham Handcock and Randall Carlson. So when I knew that this new series was coming out, I mean, I was already hyped. But then when he asked me, like, hey, you want to, me and Garrett, we're gonna shoot the shit and talk about ancient civilizations, I was like, I am in. Absolutely, that sounds great. So thanks for having me here.
Oh, thanks for being here, man. I think it's not hard. All you have to do is mention a UFO or Bigfoot or something. You're gonna find somebody who's into the, I call them the higher mysteries. Some people call them bullshit or woo woo. I don't care. I've been into this stuff since I was watching In Search of, and Leonard Nimoy, like when I was a little kid. And my gateway drug to all of this was Charles Berlitz's The Bermuda Triangle, which I read when I was a kid. And I'm like, whoa. And that's just, I've been obsessed ever since. I've listened to Art Bell for years. I miss Art. Got a toast to the ghost of Art Bell. And I don't think they've ever been able to replace him. I think the George Noory sucks personally, but Art Bell was one of the greatest radio hosts ever, had the greatest radio voice, was one of the best interviewers ever. And he would treat everybody the same, which was awesome. And you would get some crazy shit, but you get some like legit stuff too. And I have over the many years have focused on what I think is more like grounded. Even with the UFO stuff, I'm way more into like Richard Dolan. I think he's way more of a grounded person than somebody who thinks you can de-age yourself and go transport yourself to a base in Mars. I don't believe in that shit, but
it's really important, like even to be interested in this stuff, to not be able to, or not allow yourself to get like drawn into those crazy corners, because it could easily be like, oh, and then there was aliens and they came down and they had sex with your great grandma, and then now you're an alien man,
and they anal probed those cows and stole their skin and wore them. It's like, wait, what are we talking about again?
It's like we got too far down the
cattle mutilation is real. It's absolutely real. We've got video evidence.
What's real?
Cattle mutilation.
Oh yeah,
very real. But we don't know who does it. I still think it might be the government, but
it happens a lot. Yeah,
fuck with
that. See, that's what I really like about Graham Handcock and Randall Carlson. They approach every single thing from a very logical standpoint and with evidence, and that's what I've really grown to appreciate from them, because I'm very logic based, when it comes to science. And of course I love the idea of UFOs and aliens and Skinwalker Ranch and like what explains all this stuff, but it's like, but at the same time I want actual proof and evidence. So when I look at the Scablands and they're explaining how this actually happened, and no one else is like, we're just
blinders on.
No, la 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 la. None of that proves anything, and it's like, actually it proves a lot. That there was a insane amount of water. Like, how do you explain it? The only explanation I'm getting is a logical explanation from Randall Carlson, and I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. All right, so that's the science. To me, that's what science is winning, and that's usually how science works, right?
Yeah. Well, the way that in this show, the way Graham presents himself is really well, because he's like, I'm not a scientist, I'm not an archaeologist, I'm
a journalist.
I'm a journalist.
Yeah,
I'm an investigative journalist,
yeah,
and I'm seeing these things and going, wait, why is this how it is? Let me see. What could it possibly be? And then he comes up against all of these establishment experts that say, no, you're ridiculous, you're a pseudoscientist, you're crazy for believing these things. But he's like, I'm not doing it. I'm just saying, like, this is a thing. Göbekli Tepe, right?
Right.
It is made in 9,500 BC.
Right.
You accept this. The archaeologists accept it. But then they also say, well, the oldest civilization is 4,000 BC. Well, those don't line up. You can't believe both those things. It's like somebody built.
And his biggest statement about it too is, how do they learn how to do that?
Yeah, it's like, I'm just asking the question.
That's a great question. How do they learn how to do that? Where is usually when you have megalithic sites like this, there's other places around that kind of shows the progression of how they get to being able to build these massive structures. It's like, and what I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but you mentioned Göbekli Tepe. It's like there are, I think he mentioned 5 more sites buried underneath that site. Yeah. So the site that we're aware of is from 9,500 BC or 600 BC, something like that. And there's more. How old are those? How much older are those? If they're below the site they've found, that's 11,000 years old, and there's something below it. What does that mean? What? So
who built those?
There's a reason we haven't gone down there yet. I think it's because these establishment types are like, we don't want to disrupt anything. All of our like training and doctorates and schoolage, whatever, would be meaningless if it all gets disproven, wouldn't it?
Well, it would mean you have to go back to the drawing board.
True.
Which Graham talks about it. A lot of establishment scientists, and we got Sandy in there, and she says she's an ally and she'll keep her disbeliefs to herself, and that's cool.
I want to hear like if somebody has like actual debunking information. I want to know.
Like Graham,
me too.
Graham puts out his theories, but what he always says, and Randall says this too, is we need archaeologists who are cross-discipline. For one, they can be astroarchaeologists and geologists too, because there's so much specialization. There's not a lot of crossover, and they just want people to investigate stuff. That's simple. So Göbekli Tepe like just blew everything up because it's so damn old, and there could be older things there that they haven't excavated yet.
Yep.
Karen Tepe might be older. They're not sure. They don't know. And we don't know if hunter gatherers just woke up one day and go, let's just make some like T-shaped stones that look a lot like
a couple tons each as well.
Perfectly
cut, them up.
Out, like
screw eating today and hunting. I'm gonna make a giant T-shaped stone.
And you know what?
Honey, I'm hungry. Well,
let's carve
working on
the constellations into it to try to make sure that the people thousands of years from now will know exactly when we constructed this. Like, cool.
And then when we're done, 1,000 years later, bury it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, just bury it
on purpose. Bury it. I wanted to
clear. Trivial thing.
That's something that
anyways, like he
kind of glossed over. He kind of mentioned that, then they buried it. Why would they do that? And then moved on. It was like, wait.
You're like, no, unpack that. Why did they bury it?
Yeah, why?
This show needs 5 seasons, and episodes are like, I think it's a primer for the normies. Because like we've listened to all. I've read all the books. I've listened to all the live streams. I've been listening to Graham Handcock for 20 years on the radio. When Art Bell returned from one of his 50 retirements, he always had Graham Handcock on first. And then Graham Handcock had given up for a while, going like, I've said all I need to say. And then Göbekli Tepe came in and changed everything. And he's like, well, holy shit. And then legit scientists have the impact theory. The impact theory, which gives you your date. Younger Dryas is a big mystery for and another. So you asked earlier, why does this shit get shut down? 2 main reasons. They're both religious based and dogma based. There's the science, religion, dogma, and there's religion. So back in the day, all the geologists used to be dudes, priests, just guys. It wasn't a discipline, and they were very catastrophe based on the Bible. Then when academia took over, they really wanted to separate themselves. They're like, oh no, we're not doing this Bible shit. So they have uniformitarianism, gradualism, and most of the time that's the case. But they really didn't like the flood. They just flat out didn't like the flood because it's biblical. And it's just that it's a prejudice. It's prejudice on both sides. And we just got these guys going, listen,
guys, shut up. You all have floods. All of the myths, they have flood stories. That's what's insane. Every fucking single one, all the way back thousands of years, they all have a flood story where society was all wiped out by floods. That's crazy to me. I'm like, have we not dug deeply into why all these separate, completely should not have been connected in any way, mythologies built up, all have a very similar story and very similar characters? Like is it the Aztecs that have Quetzalcoatl?
Yeah.
He comes across the ocean. He's a bearded figure. He gives them knowledge, basically. And then you have Greek mythology has characters that come down and give humans knowledge. All of these different things are all connected. It's very strange.
He's like feathered serpent comes from the Olmec culture, which they know nothing about other than feathered serpent. Then there's the I always get the Mayan culture, and then
it's Olmec, Mayan, then Aztec, right?
Yep. And there's Incans down further south too, and they all have like somewhat similar myths. And yeah, you always get a flood myth, lots of serpent iconography, or that's not the right term, but you know what I mean. Lots of serpents, and that's what they go into on this is the serpent connection, which is essentially a comet.
Yep.
And a lot of this does stem from woo-woo. It does. But the thing is, though, like sometimes some theories are really good. It's just a lot of the early guys who worked in this, what they came up with, their final thesis was nuts. So a lot of people dismissed what they were noticing. And then there was a legit geologist, I'm forgetting his name now, that Graham references a lot in this book right here, America Before, who was working up in Washington in the Channel Scablands for years saying, hey, there's a big flood up here. There's glacier erratics everywhere. There's, giant earth dug out, bedrock dug out to like 1,200 feet dug out. That just doesn't happen without a lot of fucking water. And there was a giant ice sheet, and the guy just got dismissed all the time because they're like, how did it melt? He's like, I don't know how it fucking melted, how it melted. All I know is it did.
Like, I'm just looking at, I'm looking at the ground. That's what I'm seeing. You guys figure out the other thing, but I'm looking at this, and this looks like
couldn't have been a giant flood. I got the house that's burnt down. I see it smoldering. I see ash. How'd the fire start? I don't know. There wasn't a fire.
Right.
What?
Using logic, right? Using logic, because Randall's like, we would never know if there was an impact crater because it hit ice, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
no, that's gone.
Yeah, although they do reference in this season that the Scablands themselves have, certain areas that could be impact craters, but not of the main hit, which would have made sense if it hit the ice sheet and then melted all of the ice sheet.
Oh, there's a giant impact crater in Greenland they just found, which it's
really
age range of 12,000 years. They said like 12,000 to 50,000 years. So it's like, who knows?
Yeah.
What I don't get about it is like, it's not a crazy thing to think. It's like, okay, we've proven that we had meteors come down and wipe out dinosaurs. All right.
Chicxulub.
Massive flora and fauna destroyed and gone forever, right?
Not 95% of the planet. Yep.
Right. We know that, you accept that. Science accepts that as a fact. So why don't we think that couldn't happen again later to us? Like, it's not a crazy stretch to believe that. It's not like we're saying, hey, we were all fish people with fins, and there's Atlantis, and they're all down there, and they have little tridents and stuff. Like, that's not what we're saying. We're saying, like, yeah, something that we've proved to happen before.
My enemies call me Namor.
Seems to have happened. Namor. Just a boy without love. Okay.
Yep.
But yeah, like these things don't seem like insane hypotheses.
No, like Randall Carlson always comes out like, I don't believe in the crystals and the woo-woo and the spaceships. Like,
he's always very factual.
Logic.
ancient civilization that was wiped out was like an advanced ancient civilization. They had, think of them like the Romans, maybe. That would be the best analogy. The Romans.
Not like they're flying around with flying cars and spaceships and stuff. Like they're just more advanced than hunter gatherers.
I like to think of it as this: like if we learned our industrial revolution was based on combustion engines, right? Everything that or steam engines, right? That's kind of how we've gotten here. Now imagine if the way that we industrialized the planet was based on magnetism or vibrations, right? I feel like that is where that's the path that they took before the flood or before whatever happened.
Different path than us.
You see what I mean? So it's like I feel like people are stuck on trying to compare, like, well, we never reached where we are now. And it's like, well, I feel like they kind of diverged because they took a different understanding of how to create energy or use energy to benefit themselves. Like that's how we use fossil fuels and steam or geothermal energy. Like we took it in a certain way, and that's where we are now. But if we didn't, and we didn't use combustion, and maybe let's say Tesla actually got the credit that he was due, and started building Wardcliffe towers everywhere and just emitting free energy based off the Tulare current, like that would have been pretty amazing, and we would have a completely different society right now, or it would look different. It would feel probably very similar. But that's what I think that people get caught up on. They're like, well, like you said, they weren't flying around, but they, who knows? Like, there's hieroglyphics of light bulbs.
What did Sherman say? Michael Sherman's like, "Where's the trash?" Well, maybe they didn't make plastic. Maybe they didn't use paper. Like,
right?
We don't know.
Yeah. But no, Graham makes a very good point about how they coexisted with hunter gatherers. Right?
Yeah, which we
do that right now. There's an island south of India that I don't remember the name of it, but it's protected, and the Indian military surrounds it, like within like an 8-mile radius. You're not allowed to go near it because it's actually hunter gatherers that are like completely cut off from the world. It's pretty cool. You know what island I'm talking about?
Yes, and they will shoot you and cook you. By the way, if you go,
you don't want to go there.
No, and then there's Amazon tribes as well.
Brazilian tribes, completely uncontacted. Don't know what anybody of the modern age are. They've never seen them. Imagine those two types of people are living on this
trash. The point they were making with the trash is that these, we'll call it the civilized version of the ancient civilization, right? So there was still the hunter gatherers, and then there was the people that like advanced past that, right? They respected Earth still. They recognized that Earth is the reason they're here. Earth is like, Mother Earth. Without Earth, we'd be dead. We'd be toast, which is still true to this day. But look at the difference. No one gives a can't say no one, because I care about the Earth. I try to do the best I can, but like there are people that will just empty the trash out of their vehicles. Like I had a neighbor in New York City that I literally watched her open her car door and just push the trash that was accumulating on the bottom of her car out onto the street. And I was just like, how does someone do this? This is disgusting. Like it sucks, man. People don't give a shit. And it's like that they have lost complete connection with the Earth. And I don't think this ancient civilization lost that at all. I think they still were very much in tune with the Earth because their energy came from the Earth, whether it be, the Tulare current using the energy from the sun and the Earth combined, or understanding vibrations, which is something that Randall alluded to. And it's like, what kind of experiments are they doing in the Maldives, man? I cannot wait to find out more about that.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see that. And like, imagine there could possibly be multiple other ways to get energy. We're just trying to find those things. Like before we knew what electricity was, before we knew what radio waves were, we didn't know what they were. We didn't know they existed. That's what's crazy about me is whenever I was a little kid, I used to be very introspective about stuff like that and be like, there's radio waves flying through the air right now. I can't see them. They don't exist. But we figured out a way to touch them and find out that they exist. So imagine we could do that again. And imagine you go back even further, like you're saying, Adam, is that an entire civilization branched off in a completely different direction because they found a different energy source. It's like, can we not ask questions about that? Like, why is it so like, well, no, this the modern man are the only example of how a civilization can advance, and we're the furthest example of that. It's never happened before us. It seems so like egotistical, and to think that we're the best of the best of the best. It's like, no.
Humans are very narcissistic, aren't they?
That's true.
Yeah, they are. Yes, they are. Where are the Maldives?
South Pacific somewhere.
Okay.
Right.
That's really smart to get out of America with that shit.
All of the West. Yeah, completely.
Yeah. Like
just, and it makes sense. Randall, he was like, I can finally talk about it because they have their patents in order. And I'm like, whatever that means, I'm hyped. Because he said they've been there for many years experimenting on plasmoids, and it's like, oh, come on, I want to know more. It's in the middle of the Indian Ocean. All right, thanks, chat. Yeah, chat's the best. Thank you, chat.
I hope that he returns to Joe Rogan.
Oh, he will.
Yeah,
they said January, or like he's throwing out a date, like, oh, we should get you back in January. So
that's good. That's good.
Do it.
Kurt Metzger is going to be on in
pretty soon.
Weeks. Yeah, so you should come down. We're going to go see him in Austin.
Yeah,
we go visit Kerp. Tesla towers would have made the soil the transmission medium, and would have killed the earth around them. Dead bugs, dead roots, and nitrogen boiled off, says MMM Martin 261 for $4.99. I don't know.
I don't know.
Same here.
I'd like to see that. I'd like to see what would happen.
I would like to have seen at least like give it a try, maybe try something different. But listen, if you don't think that giant corporations have suppressed technology that would greatly benefit the entire world already, and they have just bought things to bury them forever because it would take us on a different path. That's another thing Randall and Graham and many other people have talked about over the years. There's tons of urban legends out there, but without being specific, I guarantee you there are companies. Well, whatever happened to the electric car? Watch that documentary. But there are companies out there that own patents to things now that just to shut them down, just
logically, the human nature will dictate that you would want to squash your competition or anything that's going to threaten your livelihood. And if you're a giant corporation, then your livelihood is that patent that you have on this. And if something comes up, you want to buy that, get it out of the way, and never bring it back up.
And
it makes sense.
And I'm not one to deify science. Science made nuclear bombs and COVID, so I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
I think it's
and clearly,
I think it's a bunch of monkeys like us.
Clearly, they're just humans.
Yeah.
Fallible humans,
self-evolved,
that are biased like everybody else.
Yep.
But what about the utopia that the communists are trying to?
Well, it's never been tried.
Real communism,
except for when it was, and then millions of people died.
That's not a real. Right. They didn't really try it though.
That wasn't real. No, it wasn't real.
What about Cuba? No, not Cuba. No.
No.
China? No.
All right, so I'm gonna share the first episode. We'll just kind of go over some stuff.
Okay.
And read some soups. So that is from Gobekli Tepe, but then they have like
this is on the right. That
that thing on the right is from Gobekli Tepe.
Oh, okay.
So the reason that's important is that's in a museum, right? And it's the earliest like huge statue of a person,
of a human, right?
Of a human that's not supposed to be. But things go like it gets crazier. They didn't even talk about the Denisovans, man. Like,
more seasons to come for sure.
Here, I'll show you.
I mean, I want this to become so successful that he can actually have the team work with the Indonesian government here and like find out what's
do an
inside here at Gunung Padang. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's happening now. I do think that's happening. He talked about like the Comet Research Group has now gotten tons of good funding. They're going to get so much more out of this. And it's all because of Joe Rogan. Like, dude,
thanks, Joe.
Thanks,
man.
Joe. I have
awesome,
been listening to Graham Handcock for years, and everybody calling that guy a kook. Like 4 years.
Yeah.
Then enter Randall Carlson going on Joe Rogan, and it all changed. And over 3 episodes from 2013, 14, 15, which are classics, man. I could listen to them tonight.
I've listened to him multiple times.
Multiple times. And the last one was great. He should have him back once a year, dude.
Yeah.
But the fact that like what I have been dying for is we've got books, we've got pictures, we've got Randall's descriptions, but we haven't seen a graphic of the flood, and we finally got that in this show. They give you like an idea of how big the flood was in Washington.
Yeah.
Still doesn't do it justice. I would love to see like a just an aerial graphic of like where all the water went down. But no,
model. Yeah, model it out. What would it be like if a massive flood happened? Like it came down from the north because of the ice sheet and it melted. Where would it go? What would it look like? I'd like to see somebody do that. Like
legit good visuals in this with the tunnels in Turkey. Mastodons. What the ice sheets look like, and they look like the wall from Game of Thrones, which is fucking cool as hell.
Yeah, they did.
And all the land that pre-ice age.
The map, like the global map of like where the shorelines would be.
That was cool too. Yeah, and they brought out those old maps.
Is that the wall kind of behind there? You kind of saw it a little bit. That's all right.
I lost it. He starts. Okay, this is Gunung
Padang.
Yeah, in Indonesia. I think that's very cool.
Yeah. So they thought this was just a
natural pile of rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he explains it because it is actually a naturally forming rock. Whenever you have molten rock that forms and then cracks into certain geometric patterns, that's a natural thing that happens. But the way that this site was like manufactured, like people came and took those rocks and then put them into this pattern.
Well, they cut them and then brought them up.
And then cut,
So
they resemble naturally forming rocks.
These were all transported by human beings on the top of this, what was believed as a hill, but it turns out it's a giant fucking pyramid.
Yep.
And it's got giant chambers in it, 3 massive chambers inside of it, and they don't know what's in it. They don't know how old it is. It's been a sacred place for thousands of years, but the oldest dating on this is 20,000 years.
That's crazy.
20,000 years.
And they give you an idea of what it looks like later.
And you could kind of see the stacking.
So 19,000
on the
BC.
bottom there. There you go. Yeah. This is kind of what it looked like.
Yeah, this is great. Oh man. And under each one of those squares is a chamber, basically.
Yeah, they have. You can, if you keep going, there's a graphic that kind of shows where the chambers are.
It's later on. There it is.
There it is. Yeah, amazing.
Fucking.
So they
don't know what's in them yet.
Ground penetrating radar.
Mm-hmm.
They showed it. They figured out that there's these voids under this entire site, and they're all connected. It's like, what were those for? What is in there right now?
Well, go ahead.
You go ahead.
I have a theory.
Go for it.
Well, jumping to another episode, you see all of those underground city networks that they have all across Turkey. Now, this is in Indonesia, and before the Ice Age, before the water level rose, there was a lot more land. So this would have been more of like a peak amongst a huge plot of land. And one thing that I'm noticing is that all the snakes, right, in all the different civilizations reference comets or meteorites that are coming down that potentially could be hazardous and catastrophes, right? Having underground areas is like that's the mentality. Like we need to have a place that we can get away from.
It's a bunker.
Yeah, it's the old school Fallout bunkers, man. The Fallout shelters.
Yeah.
I think that's what these places are.
And they
it's
built
like
these
all the way up high as they can make it.
Dude,
Why?
when I was
to get away from floods.
have you ever been
they built all these temples to face the stars, to be like observant. Like, what are we got to watch this specific area because they're like, they mentioned it in the show where there's possibly a time of year that we get more meteors and more crashes
Well,
to the earth. So
the
maybe
torrid meteor showers,
right. So they
June 30th and October
we're
30th.
in it right now.
We are in it, right?
They make these temples to face this so they can observe
Or 2 more days.
Where is this? And then they could tell, hey, everybody, we need to go down into our bunker because the next month or so we're going to need to hide.
The prevailing theory is we didn't start building stuff until we had surpluses, until we started farming, had a little extra time, had incentive. Because our life as a hunter gatherer is every day you wake up and where's my food? That's it. That's all you ever think about is where's my food and procreate so we can make more hunters to get more food. But like this 20,000 years ago is like middle ice age. But you're right. There is a ton more land. I don't know if anybody in the chat has been to Italy, been to Sicily. One thing, not every town, but I went to a couple towns there that are on the top of a fucking mountain. Like they're just these towns crunched up on the top of a hill. And everything's like circular. It's I can't remember the name of it. The place was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. But I'm like, why would you build a town up here? Like, there's tons of flat land, beautiful flat land down there. Why would you do it up here? Like, and there's multiple towns on the top of it. Well, maybe it's easier to defend. Back from the 1600s, it's easier to defend from invaders and stuff like that. Maybe floods.
View's nice, yeah.
The view's nice. The view's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
It's really difficult to get up there and get materials up there. So it seems like a difficult thing to do.
Little roads and small Italian cars and really good.
I think it's the floods, man. I think that the idea of a flood 5,000 years ago was much more prevalent in people's minds.
Yeah,
because it actually happened and people did die. There was, they say it in such a short period, the water level rose 400 meters. That's a lot. That is insane. How most people don't really realize how much 400 meters is of water.
Somebody says right here, it's printed in our DNA. That comes from Velikovsky, by the way, and that's the guy who kind of like started this. Oh, he didn't start it, but he popularized that there might be some history and myth. Now
is it feet? All right, sorry, 400 feet. What's okay? Excuse me, 400 feet. That's still insane.
Insane.
That's still an insane amount of water.
No, Graham Handcock talked about we lost like it was.
I don't remember how much.
Half of Asia. And part of Europe. That's how much land we lost. Like fucking a lot of land. Like prime real estate.
Free real estate.
And water now.
Well, I want to know what's down. I want to I want to explore that. Like north of this spot right here, right? Because they showed in Indonesia. It's kind of like looks kind of like a banana, whatever. But in between, like north of there's that lake. That shit was gone. That's all land.
Yeah,
everything's gone. So
everything's gone.
The other thing to talk about, I didn't finish my thought earlier. That happens a lot.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, it's not your fault. It
happens.
It happens a lot. I lose my thought and then I get it like a half hour later. The other thing that is really stopping Randall Carlson in particular and Graham Handcock is climate change. The climate change dogma that is out there right now, and the carbon taxers and all that bullshit. By the way, nobody denies climate is changing. It's always changing. Randall's argument is, it changes a lot, like a lot. And we're actually in one of the nicer times right now. Not the nicest. That happened a few thousand years ago, but we're in a pretty nice time now. And he makes a pretty good case that you want it to be, you don't want it to be hot, but you don't want it to be cold. You don't want it to be cold. Warmer is better.
Warmer is way better. No, you think about how things grow in the equator. It's all warm there. get so many different fruits. Everything can flourish. We want it to be warmer. We don't want people throwing trash in the streets, of course.
Right. Yeah.
But
plants thrive on CO2.
Yeah, but
if you guys
it's okay to get warmer.
There's Sunderland right there.
There it is. Sunderland. That's what it was.
Sunderland. Look at how much land that was, and then
so much land
goes to
how much of the ocean is explored?
That
it's like what 10%?
10%, I believe.
So 10% of the ocean is explored, right? And then we have how much? Half of the land that was. Oh well, why aren't we finding any of their trash? Why aren't we finding it? Because they all lived on water.
Underwater.
Gone, man.
Where do most cities live? Go look at Europe. Almost every major city is on the Rhine, because that is a major waterway that goes all the way out. You can get supplies. Like think about those little cities at the very tops of the mountains. It's hard to get product there. It's hard to get anything there. But when you live on the water, you can ship everything. You can get stuff. That's where everything. Most humans live. Well, most humans live on the edge of the land because it's easy to get. I mean, fishing and trading. It's just much easier to move around. So if there was a flood, guess what? Most of humanity is going to get crushed because they all live on the water.
Yeah.
And if it raised 400 feet, boom, gone.
And then if it's even earlier in our history, right? It's like 19,000 years ago, like even further back and even further back, all that stuff is going to be gone. It's going to be just washed away with time.
Exactly.
So that's why you don't see that trash, because it's so far distant in the past.
Well, look at the Antikythera device, right? That was from.
Dude, I was going to bring that up. That's crazy.
2,000 years ago to 600 BC. They're thinking that's what it's from.
Well, you know what the analogy was finding a motorcycle in the Middle Ages.
Right. Like, and that shit's almost completely disintegrated, right? And they happened to find it in one. Where was all the rest? Probably they melted the shit down because they thought it was like some sort of witchcraft, but it existed. So what
other humans came in and destroyed it because they conquered
maybe it was
society. Who knows? There's tons of stuff like the Library of Alexandria. We know it exists.
Passed down technology from an older mother civilization. That's what a lot of this stuff like. We're okay. So where's the trash? Where are the buildings? They're all over the place. The buildings, like you go up
the Sphinx,
Sacsayhuaman, dude. That shit is old. They say it's only like a couple hundred years old. No, it's not. It's not. There's no way, unless there is some Amazon or some tribe up there, not Amazon, that knows how to like liquefy rock and turn it into basically marshmallow, which is what it looks like. Nobody fucking knows. And when they talk to the indigenous people there, even the ones that go way back, they're like, no, we didn't build it. It was here when we got here.
There's tons of examples like that.
But then the archaeologists from the West go, you're wrong. All your traditions, bullshit.
Your myths, right? Your histories, no. Because we're better than you.
It's so funny to think of it. You're wrong. Your ancestors definitely did build this.
You savages. Yeah, like that. They're fucking that. They're like Graham Hancock's not wrong. It's really based in a lot of like the kind of racism we're seeing from Hollywood right now. That's kind of the shit we're doing. It's elitist.
Oh, you thought that? Oh, how precious. Well, actually, I know better because I'm a learned scholar.
Because I got a piece of paper and can regurgitate what my professor told me.
The science is settled.
It's the YouTube science is settled.
YouTube science has been settled.
I
would, in line.
This is like the reason you don't want to trust like just anybody. The reason we really trust Randall Carlson and Graham Handcock is because they've dedicated their lives. They have visited. They don't just talk about these. Like most archaeologists don't go out in the field and visit as many sites as Graham Handcock and Randall Carlson have.
While standing there and showing, this is what proves what my theory is. Here's another example that proves what my theory is. Here's another, like constantly over and over again. That's what I really like
is like, so Graham can go out here and go, okay, well, there's a lot of these examples. What could it possibly mean? I don't know. Maybe it's a earlier civilization. Who knows? But I know there's all these things that are going around and they're interesting. And then he meets somebody like Randall Carlson is like all about the geology of it and going, hey, well, I was standing on one side of this bluff and I looked to the other side and it was the same height. And then in the middle, there was a little stream. And I'm like, wait, what? It seems like there was a larger river here. What could have made that? And then he starts going down the kind of looking for clues and going, well, look at this geology here and all of these, the scab lands, and then how the water rushes down and like they're fractals, how it goes down to the very smallest and all the way to the biggest. And they look like giant riverbeds. And then you get these two theories together and they go, well, this kind of explains the younger Dryas period. And then it kind of like lines up. So what I like about the both of them is that they don't have like a theory. They have their separate findings and they come together and go, well, this could be it. Why don't you guys, the experts, go look at it? And they go, you're crazy. We're not going to look at it because it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you just look at it just for fun?
He like goes there all the time, does the work, and he's a madman. He's an obsessed madman. The kind of people we need working on this, not just like, oh, I like archaeology. No, this guy, like, he would do it if he was doing it when he wasn't getting any money for it. Like he had a construction company or something like that, and he just did this shit up for fun. So like that's the kind of person you need working on this. So I dig the animations they did, and they almost every show they gave you a different flood myth.
It's really
true.
Well,
it's crazy.
Done, yeah.
From a different part of the planet that would have zero way of communicating about whatever flood it is.
Each episode is structured with that. They show you the temple or the site, and then they talk about how it was constructed, and then they go, okay, well, the people that built this, they believe this. And it has all the same like little hallmarks of the same story over and over.
There's your feathered serpent.
A Kukulkan.
Or Quetzalcoatl.
Yeah, Quetzalcoatl.
That's the Aztec name.
He's older.
That's the Aztec name. Well, he goes way back. But I love that they mentioned that he left on a boat without any paddles. Very interesting.
Boat with serpents.
Osiris went out with a boat to go teach civilization. There's Sumeria, Mesopotamia have their fish guy who taught civilization.
Yeah.
There's always this guy with a beard and like came from the water who was taught us how to, grow crops. And it's weird. Like two ancient civilizations separated, having the same story would be weird. But when it gets to 4, 5, 6, 10, 100,
everyone, when it comes to every single one having a flood and having someone come and teach them agriculture, I mean, okay, all right. It's no longer a coincidence.
Clearly, there was something in our our human past that would cause us to make that kind of story up. I mean, maybe it's some kind of, like Jordan Peterson says, like there's like a ultimate truth in these like stories that we tell each other. There's ultimate truths in it, but like it makes sense that there was something that happened to us so far back that it doesn't register on our history books and nobody wrote about it because it was so far back. Just word of mouth got through, and then it turned into legend and myth and these stories, and then it spread across the world like humans did. What was that thing?
Well, word of mouth.
Younger Dryas.
Do you ever see the Pyramid Code?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Awesome show. It used to be on Netflix. I'm kind of sad it's not on Netflix anymore. But they had this Egyptian historian. I fucking love this guy. He was badass, and he said that his family line was all about giving this story and passing the story on. Like he was obsessed with knowing the history of Egypt, and he talked about it with such reverence. And the stuff that he talked about, the pyramids that weren't just the Great Pyramids of Giza, the other pyramids, the healing, the resonant chambers, the different pyramids that were in Egypt. And I'm like, man, this guy really loves the lore of what his family passed on to him. And you think about that's what humans did. That's how they passed on knowledge. Is they were obsessed with showing the next generations. They really cared about the next generation. And
that's all they had, right? You think about, you're sitting in your village and all you're hunter gatherer, all you've got is your stories that you tell your children. You don't spend time going out and shopping or watching movies at the movie theater or watching TV or going on the internet. All you have is I go out, I try to get food, I come back and I look at my family and I tell them stories. Or we look at the fire and we see how interesting that is. Or we look at the stars and we look at and see how interesting that is. What do those stars mean? Let's
you
tell
remember
stories
this
about
thing
that.
called
That's all you have.
Remember this thing called camping? I used to do it.
Yeah,
I remember that. I remember
And,
that.
It's been a while. I need to do it again.
And I went out there, and all I did was make a fire, roast some marshmallows, and like get my telescope out and look at the stars for hours.
And people did that their entire it's hard to fathom that because like we live in such a distraction oriented like society now. We can do so many different things, but back then all it was camping. It was sitting by a fire at night, telling stories to each other, looking at the stars. That's it.
Yeah, passing down like this knowledge, and
so it's very important to you.
With Solon, with the whole Atlantis myth, it was based on multiple stories that had to be passed down. And according to the Egyptian priests that talked to Solon, that later talked to Plato, like you had to know it word for word. So you practiced it. So it got passed on. So it wasn't a game of telephone. It was like, we are passing this down for, and they definitely tried to warn us about a lot of things and we just didn't listen. I'm going to read a couple.
I think that's human beings. I don't think we're able to listen to
nature.
Listen to things.
Back to that narcissistic personality.
Yeah.
Of
I'm the first one to figure this out. So you don't know. I'll figure it out.
George here's here. George.
$50.
You're gonna have to sing, Garrett, because unless they want it to sound like Johnny Cash,
Am I singing?
Well, you gotta say he's got a beautiful soul.
You've got a beautiful soul.
That was good.
Damn.
Now he's bringing up the Zoroastrians, which is they're fascinating. And what was it? The whirling dervish. My wife was watching. She's like, they're real. They whirl and they're dervish. And I'm like, yeah.
With the guys in the white skirts.
And that were like, that was. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. God, I want to go to Turkey so bad, but I'm with you, Crigler. I'm like, I like my head.
Yeah, it kind of it bums me out because it looks like a beautiful place, and I'm sure there's like tons of great people to meet.
Most of the
some people that aren't good.
Probably absolutely fine. But like some of the areas that we'd want to go to get
southeast
get a little sketchy.
Not as bad as it was before, but yeah, I'd love to go to Lebanon, check out Baalbek too. That'd be fucking awesome. But yeah, I just
Balsac, what?
Baalsac, yeah, Baalbek. Egypt.
I'm sorry, I'm immature.
I want to go to Egypt.
Egypt is pretty safe now. I've heard.
Go to Egypt.
Pretty damn safe now. Yeah, they're cool over there. Dude, like, what are they gonna? You're going over there. You're spending your money, eating their food, staying in their hotels. Yeah.
The thing that I'm really afraid of is I'm not good at haggling. So if somebody tries to sell me something, and apparently they're like really hagglers over there. Whenever they're in like the market, they're trying to sell you things like and upsell you. And I don't know.
Just don't.
I like to buy things sometimes. I got to get a souvenir.
Do you deal
Egypt,
with haggling like you deal with trolling? You not give a fuck. I just
That's a good point. That's a good way of putting it.
Anything this bad? I just don't give a fuck.
You have to, if you're in that zone, you have to accept that you have to convince yourself that you don't really want the item, because if they feel that, they will drop it to nearly nothing to get you to buy it.
Absolutely.
I gotta learn.
I don't want it. I don't care.
Just
you got to convince me to want it, and I don't want it. So unless it's dirt, I'm good. Peace. I'm gonna walk over here.
Bring that number down here.
I got enough stuff. And so like,
that's
if
it. Have
I
that
really
attitude.
want something, I will like my Comic Outpost banner. I wanted it, so I didn't even haggle with the guy. I'm like, all right, I'll just get
that. Was pretty cool.
And then
cool to see.
Thanks. It was very cool to see too. Like opening up for the first time, that was like, whoa.
For the second time.
Never thought I'd see you again. So yeah, I stared at that thing every fucking day. For 10 years.
Thank you, Bossy Boots. Thank you.
What was that? What did Bossy Boots say?
She said she'll haggle for me.
Oh, she will.
I'll
She
just
will.
stand behind you,
Dude, she's cheap as fuck. That's why.
I can imagine I'm sure she's like an amazing haggler.
She is the best. She learned from her dad, who was also cheap as fuck. So
I've gone to Mexico many times in my life, so I've learned how to haggle in those kind of environments.
Oh, Mexico. That's what we're going to do next. That's the next episode. Is like it's so close, and there's so much fucking cool shit in Mexico. So much cool shit. And plus, the food's awesome.
Oh,
food is awesome.
It is true.
That's why
Stay away from Juarez, though, which is I wouldn't go to Juarez right now.
Yeah.
George,
Tijuana is pretty bad too right now.
Yeah. You know, it used to. You know, sad is it used to not be that bad. Like I used to go down there as a kid, and I'd feel safe. I was 16, running around drunk.
Tijuana.
I wouldn't go down to Tijuana as a 16-year-old to get drunk nowadays.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Well, that was the drinking age was 16. That's why we went down there. So
yeah,
it's illegal. So Zoroastrians discuss it in their religion as well. Obviously, it is in the Torah. By the way, George is Greek. I need to go to Greece, man. I need to go to Greece.
I'd love to go.
Never
there,
been.
Man.
I would like to go.
Ancient Greeks discuss a flood. If you read Herodotus, I'm saying that wrong.
Herodotus, I think is how you're supposed to say. I'm probably saying it wrong.
No, that's right. All hail to my favorite people, Gary, Adam, and Quarter Black. Hail Nerdrotic. Hail George the Giant Slayer. Please subscribe to his channel.
Hail George.
He makes great videos.
Yes, he does.
He's got a beautiful soul.
Ian Carlos for 1999 says, I live in Minnesota, River Valley, and I am only 30 miles away from the bluff Randall talks about. I want to see that bluff, Ian.
Cool.
Yeah, I want to go
because that is, I mean, like that's the kind of shit I used to wonder. I just wasn't obsessed about as Randall, but like if you drive through the beautiful southwest of this country, which is, in my opinion, the most gorgeous part of this country, you go Monument Valley, parts of Arizona, parts of Nevada. I'm a desert guy, but you can like absolutely tell like lots of water rushed over lots of land. It's really obvious. And we'll pull up a map. We'll do some Google Earth in a little bit, and I'll show you where I'll go a little further than where Randall has about like where all the water went, because where he says that a lot of the flood that went through Washington did eventually just hit the Pacific Ocean. I think a lot of shit went further south. I just do. Because there was a lot of rivers in Nevada. There were a lot of huge rivers and lakes, and they all dried up. Why? Well, probably because that was just excess water that was there. Who knows? Maybe,
yeah. They just went into the voids, created rivers, waters, and then went away.
Well, Lake Missoula, which is, I don't know if that's Salt Lake or not. What used to be Salt Lake? No, I forgot the name of it. What Salt Lake is part of a bigger ancient lake, and a lot of that dried up, and the earth is still rebounding from that drying up, and you can see it like all over the Southwest. That's why like it looks like a different planet down there. That's why I love it. It looks so fucking cool. PerkTube 1 for $5 says, one day we're going to find a huge burial mound full of ancient games that never sold well, like E.T.
We found those.
I was curious one day because like the mounds in the United States were decimated. I think what did Graham say? There used to be 1 million, and there's about 100,000 left. Did you know? Like when I was a kid, I didn't know anything about mounds. Nobody said shit about mounds in school, like not at all. Didn't hear a fucking thing about it. Only heard about it later. But then I was curious. I'm like, we can't have found all the mounds. I mean, believe it or not, we have not like this. We've pretty much hit every part of this country, but there is vast parts of the wilderness that no human's ever been in that we know of.
True.
Unless we're indigenous, especially in the northern parts of California and that thick ass forest. There's just no way to get in there.
Yeah.
So, I'm just wondering if we've found them all. And apparently, there's some they're just being protected. Like people know about them and they'll never tell anybody where they are. And I'm like, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I probably should.
I'd love to know, but it's better Maybe when we're a little more advanced, and we can just use ground penetrating radar or something. That's even better. Ventus Bruma for $5 says Robert Schoch believes. I'm glad you brought this up, by the way, Ventus. Robert Schoch believes that if the event 12,000 years ago was caused by a massive solar flare, he thinks the cities underground were to hide from solar rays. I'm open to both theories, because I think he does have a very compelling theory. I think he comes out a little too hard on the impact theory. I think it could have been both.
Well, I wonder about that, because if it's a solar flare, is it a consistent solar flare?
It's
over time. Is that his theory?
One.
Just one.
But
so I don't think people would have time to.
Well, it doesn't
build
under Dryad, because you had to have something to start it and end it.
Right. Yeah.
So
like you wouldn't have time to build these massive structures or these underground tombs, basically, for that, because
I don't think they would have had the time to build those things anyway. Yeah. If it was impact, it would have struck, and then the water would have just rushed everywhere.
Some of the ideas were
what's the difference?
It's that belt that comes around, and they knew that they were getting these strikes. It was like a more common occurrence to get a meteor strike.
What's
here
the
and
common
there
theme
throughout time
of every
for that period, the Younger Dryas
flood
period?
myth? What's the common theme of almost every flood myth? Is they had prior knowledge. Somebody, some god, some person came down and said, shit's going down. You need a boat, or you need to dig a hole. You need to prep. You need to be a prepper. And so maybe that was the civilization, or maybe that was what's left. Like, I can believe you could see a comet coming for a while. I don't know how long. I don't know if you could like dig 4 square kilometers of tunnels.
That's a lot.
Down 85 meters. Well, it's not 85, because the first 2 rows were the oldest. So but that's still a lot of digging in bedrock. Now it's softer. Because it's that tough in Turkey we're talking about.
Right.
We missed that episode. That was insane. Seeing that map was insane.
Right. Of the network that they've built.
Holy shit.
Well, it's interesting too, because they say that the impact hit, right? And then there was the Earth froze for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
So if it was warm and they were living in climate that was relatively normal, and then boom, this flood happened and it froze the entire Earth for 1,000 years, where are they going to live? They're going to live underground. They're going to live in a place that would be. So I don't know if it was more to protect them against solar flares, or to actually live in an environment that's they can keep
it was like just comfortable. This crazy idea, like what if
frozen? Okay, so what happened was the ice age was starting to end.
Right.
It just restarted again, basically. Right. So there were temperate places, but there was also tons of. It was 1,000 years of insanity. Lots of rain, lots of storms, but there were still parts that you could hunt, but there were parts you couldn't. And Robert Schoch's theory was that the sun just freaked out for a long period of time. And it does that, by the way. Our sun is not this really mellow thing. We've been lucky. But he talks about the Carrington event that happened almost 200 years ago, 150 years ago, where if that happened today, it would have fried everything. Absolutely fried our electric grid over the entire, whatever part of the world it hit. It would have fried it all. They had telegraph, and the telegraph were catching on fire from the Carrington event. And this is just a massive solar flare. I can't remember if it was X class or M class. Forgot the class. Again, not a scientist, but but it was 1,000 years of nuts, of absolutely just apocalyptic bullshit in a lot of places.
So it would make sense that they would want a spot that they can take refuge.
Yes.
That wouldn't be blown away, that wouldn't be able to be, and that's why they had those big, huge stone roll things. It's like, all right, let's roll these into place. And they had them in different places. Now, they were surmising that it was like a privacy thing, but I don't think so. I think it was actually if it was a solar flare that was so massive, like solar radiation, maybe they were like, all right, we have to have a couple barriers away from the surface. like Fallout, Fallout shelters.
So what happens to the Earth if and Robert Schoch's theory is really good because the because the plasma hitting the sky would create images in the sky. And that look a lot like the petroglyphs that we see throughout the West and
that are recreated
in Easter Island. It's weird. And it would create like lightning, like giant lightning, though, not just normal lightning, giant lightning. And there's lots of vitrification around the Earth, melted rock. There's a bunch in Egypt. There's those Scottish forts that have it on the top. Just melted rock. It's so we don't know what caused it, but it's something to think about for sure. Look forward to YouTube Coast to Coast with your host Gary Beekler, says Robert McDonald for $5. That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
I like it
a lot. Believe it or not, they had flying vehicles back, and every civilization around the world were in communication, says Deneska for €10. Well, India is way older than we think it is. That is an old fucking civilization, and the Indus Valley, and again, you have Egyptians saying they're, before the Old Kingdom, they talk about kings going way the hell back, and it's just archaeologists come in and go, nah, can't happen.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit our narrative, so
doesn't fit our narrative.
We're the most advanced human beings of all time. Okay,
we are the
Nobody's
pinnacle.
Come here first. It's us.
Humans,
it's only us,
because we can look on our phones. We can see porn on our phones, and I'm like, hey, that's a great advancement.
I don't understand the pushback on that. Like, how could you? There could possibly be multiple layers of. It's almost like the simulation theory. It's like there's another civilization before that, and who's to say there wasn't one before that? And they just get wiped out because that's how time destroys everything. So, and only the biggest structures like Göbekli Tepe, like all these sites that we've found that are fucking way older than the agreed upon oldest civilization, 4000 BC. Mesopotamia is 4000 BC. It's the oldest they agree on. But then there's 20,000 years before that, and there's these giant structures. So time destroys it all.
I was reading about this grave in India, and I don't remember exactly where it was, but they said that it's radiated, like Chernobyl radiated still. And they're like the breakdown of what type of radiation is tens of thousands of years old. But it's an actual village that was blown away. Do you know what I'm talking about? Did you hear about this?
With the one where there's like skeletons in the ground.
Yeah, right. And it's was there a nuclear bomb? Was it the solar flare that hit that crazy? Like who knows?
It could have been an impact in the air, which would give you very similar results. So, yeah. As a ham radio operator, I can use the ionosphere, and by the way, ham radio is fucking awesome. I just wouldn't have the patience for it. I can use the ionosphere, and a piece of copper wire to talk all the way to the other side of the world on very little power, says Johan Naxos for $10. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
See, now something like a piece of technology like that using something that is always going to be there, those radio waves, they're there. Why is it too crazy to think that maybe a civilization before that figured a way to harness that?
Yep.
That's
what
I was
got
saying
wiped
earlier.
away by a giant meteor or climate shifting or a giant solar flare. There's evidence for these things.
What is
I can see it happening.
Is it Thoth? I forget the Egyptian rumor that's like, I buried my ship underneath the Sphinx, and whoever can bring my ship to the surface will be like the savior of humanity, or something along those lines. Does anybody know? You guys, have you heard of this?
I haven't.
Off Egyptian.
They have found ships buried. They have.
Well, that's what Bob Lazar was alluding to. That one of the ships that they were working at in S4 was. Is it Thoth? I think it's that. That's what my I think it's
chat
Thoth.
will correct you.
I think they're saying Thoth. Yeah.
The moon boat.
So, well, if we had a civilization, this is when I first went down my Randall deep, rabbit hole. Thanks to you both.
You got all the Randall you could handle.
Yeah, no, I can handle way more. I'm telling you. But ever since then, that was one of the things that I couldn't stop thinking about because I had just watched the Bob Lazar interview, and I know a lot of people are like, "Well, Bob Lazar, is he trustworthy? Is he not?" But it's like,
it's interesting.
It's interesting. It's interesting, right? And he said something.
I think he is.
You think he's trustworthy?
Yes, his story hasn't changed over fucking almost 30 years.
Yeah, it's very consistent.
Yeah.
Right.
And he doesn't do conferences or write books.
He doesn't gain anything out of it.
Yeah. One thing that I couldn't let go of, he said that one of the ships they found underground at an archaeological dig.
Dig. Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute. All right. So now let's go back and add this into the equation of Graham Handcock and Randall Carlson. And I said, all right, so if there was an ancient civilization that happened before the flood, they obviously documented when meteorites were going to be coming, that they knew that there was going to be a flood. Say that this ancient civilization knew that there was a comet coming that was going to hit, or maybe a CME was coming, a coronal mass ejection was going to hit and melt the ice caps. They were like, all right, it's going to cause all of this water to flood. We're going to lose 90% of humans right now. Like, what are we going to do? All right, we're going to take what we can, go out into space. And maybe they weren't interstellar yet. Maybe they were only able to get like kind of where we're at right now. We're in space. We've occupied space for the past 20 years, but we're not interstellar. We're just floating out there. But imagine they are able to get out, watch it happen, be like, damn,
and then land back.
Look, we just lost all of this land. All right, now that it's settled, and that's what Graham Handcock says. It's like once the flood settled, that's when Göbekli Tepe was built. And why is that? Why was it exactly when the water settled, where the environment started becoming normalized? And it's like they probably built it and like, we need to help humanity last. How are we going to do that? We got to teach them agriculture and build this freaking. How do they build these things? Those T shapes. Like, how did they learn how to do that?
That helped me kind of like go, okay, well, this is a possibility, right? I don't know if this is real. I don't know if it all happened, but it tracks. If it happened right now, what would we do? We could do exactly like you said. We could go into space. We could send 3 people out into space with all of our knowledge and then have it happen. They could come back and go, okay, well, we need to restart. Who would the people that could survive that? It would be the people that are living off the land right now. So you'd go and start telling them.
Extremely rich
back from there.
Elitists have giant bunkers. There's a giant bunker under the White House. They mentioned this in the show. There's the China under Beijing. They have giant tunnels to take people. So there are places to go.
What do you think? What do you think that pyramid in Indonesia was? It's the same shit, dude. It's some rich king man's whatever's bunker that's living down there.
Yeah.
If it were to happen today, humans would be screwed.
The big club, and we ain't in it.
Yeah, and then that big club, they wouldn't give a shit. They'd be like, well, we're gonna save ourselves, and then the earth would get wrecked, and they would probably.
I kind of wanted to do my own bunker in my backyard, and then I saw how much they cost. I'm like, closet.
You need, know what you need to do? Go buy like 20 acres out in the middle of nowhere.
Favorite shoes.
Make that a bunker you go to.
I tried to convince Tim to do it because he loved spending money, and I was like, "Build a bunker, man!" Like,
yeah, dude.
And it wouldn't surprise me if he had built a bunker because he's done a lot of things that I've suggested.
Did you
give me credit for it?
Did you suggest the secret compartment room
in his house? No, that came with the house.
It came with that was crazy.
That was there. Yeah. He loves showing that off too. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to sideline the conversation.
Oh,
that's funny though.
It was a whirlwind going there. I was jet lagged and I was a little out of it, but I thought I did okay. I'm like, oh, they do live streams like we do. We just start. Okay, that's good. I'm down with that. We don't prep. Who needs prep? Fucking prep.
Well, they claim to need prep when the quartering was on my show. and they were bitching and
was
canceled their
weird.
show because they didn't have prep. So that's interesting to hear. I don't watch that show, so I don't.
I got there on time.
Neither do I.
And met some people that were really nice, and we sat around and talked. Then we went on a show, but there was no like, hey, this is what we're going to talk about, like briefly right before the show started, like, which is I'm fine with, because like that's how we do Friday Night Tights. We're like, hey guys, what's up? And we talk about all the shit we can't say, loud, like about our families and stuff. And then we Ryan says his gamer words, and then we start, gets them out of the system.
Right.
It's not just Ryan.
That's what's fun is like Louder with Crowder is very prep oriented. It's like we gotta like write a whole show map out and like check all of our facts that we're gonna say and all a show map. It's a show map where you write out what you're gonna do on a show. And then I've been on so many other channels
I don't know what that
where
means.
we don't do any prep whatsoever. So I came back a couple weeks ago and they were like, "Hey, do you want to read over the show map and do all this?" And I was like, "No, no, I just want to go right in. We're gonna hit live, and I'm just gonna react to whatever we're talking
baby.
about, okay?
Give me that mic. I do kind of prep my show every day, but it's only like, what am I talking about? All right, I'm gonna have a couple different reference points.
Yeah, you're not like going through like writing out what you want to say and like doing little bullet points and like researching that to the nth degree and then coming back and
no, I'm good.
The articles I go over like are just either they're going to be in a video or they're ones I didn't use in a video but kept around because they're good enough to talk about on the live stream. That's it. All right, so read a couple more and then we'll get to the next episode real quick. There are known why don't I read the one that's up here? Guys, ADD.
You could do it, Gary.
Mostly Gluten for $20. Thank you for putting your stuff on Spotify. I love hearing this because I have no idea who's listening on Spotify or iTunes or anything. So, man, people were telling me at the meetup, they're like, "Thank you for doing that." I'm like, "Oh shit, okay, cool,
great."
I just did it and hope for the best. I usually don't get to watch all of your live streams, but love to listen to you while I work. That is awesome. Please tell me that, because that's what we're aiming for this show. For what we want to do with this is going to be more than just YouTube. We'll just say that.
Yeah.
You listen.
I do want to make a show map.
You listen in Rumble. Rumble. But thank you, Mostly Gluten, for $20 for thank you for the super chat, and thanks for listening on Spotify. That's cool as hell. Yeah. Robert McDonald for $5. There are known historical cities in Egypt that have been buried by sandstorms over the last 6,000 years that archaeologists have not found yet. Robert, you're right. They did find one. I forgot.
Wait, I'm sorry. There are known, but they haven't found them yet. So how do they know that they exist?
No, the lore, the myth is this city used to exist, and they think it's a myth. But they did recently find one, which was this major trade route. And then Graham brings it up in the Joe Rogan podcast. He's like, "Hey, there's like thousands of square miles in the Amazon rainforest and thousands of way more in the Sahara Desert that have never been properly looked over by archaeologists at all, and they just don't feel the need to do it. But if you think about it, the Sahara Desert is a young desert. It's 5,000 years old. It's like nothing. And the other thing Graham says that's just blew my mind was the Amazon. We don't want to cut down the Amazon, by the way. It's very bad. Okay. We like oxygen. I'm a big fan of oxygen. And plus, I think it should be left alone. But a lot of the Amazon is man-made.
It's a garden.
It's a garden. And there used to be giant civilizations in there, and they would there were certain trees that they planted that became a dominant species. And it's crazy to think about. And then there's that terra preta soil he likes to talk about, which is a soil that never goes bad, that they invented, that whoever was in the Amazon invented it. They're still looking for it. You can still find it, and it never goes bad because it's not even though it's dense rainforest, it's not a great place for agriculture to grow food.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fucking fascinating. And that is science, by the way. They call them shamans, but that's what that.
He brings up, like he went into on JRE about the DMT and ayahuasca, because it's like the way you get ayahuasca is two separate plants in the fucking good jungle full of thousands and thousands and
hundreds
of plants, hundreds of thousands of plants. you got two pieces of that they put together and go, okay, this
So
is how
what
we
was
do.
trial and error? Because he said there couldn't have been trial and error because you would die.
They'd be like, okay, next person,
die.
come up. Okay,
Yeah.
try this. Nope. All right, next one. All right. That is evidence of science. That's
I believe they
evidence of
tried it on 8
civilizations.
mice.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, yeah.
And
Yes.
8 mice. That's
8
how
mice.
And then
they
one
made
was
sure
just
it was
like, whoa, dude, I'm
Yeah,
eating like
one
machine
mice,
elves, bro.
One mouse came back going, dude, machine elves, bro.
They're like, this is the formula.
good. Start human trials.
Yeah.
I give Joe a ton of shit because he always tries to work ayahuasca in a conversation. I listen to a lot of Joe Rogan, so he brings it up a lot. But it's fascinating, how people are seeing the same things and contacting.
Yeah.
And they're like almost on every trip you contact somebody. You have a conversation.
Imperial College stuff he was bringing up.
Yeah,
they were doing these studies in the Imperial College where they're putting people not for 10 minutes because I guess the DMT trip is like 10 minutes long. You go there, you see these machine elves, then you're like, oh, what's going? Oh, whoa, I'm already back. Well, they've got these people in for an hour, and they all see the same thing.
Well, you drop acid, dude. I don't know if either of you guys have dropped acid, but I have.
No.
It changes your perspective. It absolutely after you shroom and drop acid, you see things differently, absolutely differently.
Well, it brings back your childhood sense of wonder. I think that's really what acid does. It allows you to see things in a brand like you're seeing it for the first time again. That's what
it's some veil. It's not a veil. You're right. It's like taking you to another side dimension where you're seeing things completely differently than you saw every day. And you're like, whoa.
What I find that's interesting about DMT, because I've looked a lot into it and all that stuff because I watched a lot of JRE, and DMT seems to be a different beast altogether, because when you take shrooms or you take acid, you have these trips, but they're different.
Two completely different things,
different, right?
No. Also, shrooms and acid are very
right. Yeah, right. Very different.
Very
different things you go and experience, and people experience different things on them. But DMT seems to be the same thing. Are very, very, very similar things. They go to a place and see
the trip
things.
I see. Yeah.
That's what's very interesting to me about it.
With acid, way more than shrooms. Acid is not to be messed with because it's for one, it's not a natural substance; it's a chemical. So you have to be in a good frame of mind. You have to be around people.
LSD is a government sign,
or you can have a really fucking bad trip. So that's the one you don't want to fuck with. Shrooms, you might get a little sick. That's the worst thing that's going to happen.
I think is kind of cool about the DMT thing is it almost does seem like a quantum realm. It's like a realm of our consciousness that we could all go to with this chemical that our brain creates. But our brain doesn't create enough of it.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's in everything, isn't it? Like plants. Is that true?
It's in us, but it's in a lot of plants, but I'm not sure how many. I would check. Could probably help me with that.
Okay.
Oscar Loon for 5 SGDs. I have no idea what that is, but thank you, Oscar. Doesn't matter.
I don't know.
Hard earned. That's all it is. Crazy idea. What if people from ancient civilizations survived but are covering up the devil's greatest trick, making us think they don't exist? Maybe
the lizard.
Maybe
people?
It's us.
Maybe there are no aliens. Maybe the UAPs are from the ocean. I mean, we haven't. We know
Jacob.
We know more about the
Namor.
It's Namor. Maybe they all went down there and got their CDC masks on, turned blue, and we're in a really bad movie.
Yeah. I feel like we're in a really bad movie, so it kind of tracks.
Yeah. All right, so this is the second episode.
Mexico.
Mexico. Beautiful Mexico. There we go. Mm-hmm. So this is the biggest pyramid in the world.
Well,
biggest footprint for a man-made structure.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
The coolest thing about this is that it's. Oh, are you gonna play a little bit of it? That's fine.
I can't remember.
There it is. There it is. Right. So the coolest thing about this is it's built upon another one, which was built upon another one, which is built upon another one. So it's almost like a Russian nesting doll, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger over the thousands of years. That this is its final iteration, right? Yep. But it's been there for forever, and I don't remember how old the original one at the very center of this thing. He talks about it. I kind of like binged this all yesterday. I watched all of that.
It's like 50 BC or something like that.
Supposedly, there you go. There's like the X-ray of the different ones.
What's the site?
Yeah, here we go.
Cholula.
Cholula. I love Cholula. Not the sauce.
Not chalupa. The sauce is good.
I love the sauce.
I like the sweet habanero. That's my favorite. I put it on effing everything. I will put that shit on ice cream. I will.
The hot sauce?
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah, Cholula.
I would try it. I would
put it on absolutely everything. I like snacking on string cheese. I put Cholula on my string cheese. It's good.
Okay. I would try it. I guess.
There's one of the first ones.
Yeah, right at the center there.
I love that little date scrolling thing they have on the side.
Yeah, me too. I really like how they did that.
Yeah, it's quality there.
But this place is a trip. And you know what? He's talked, as much shit as Graham was talking about archaeologists. There's a couple of them who are really cool. They were like, yeah, we're open. We have our ideas, but they're not like that's what an archaeologist should be.
Right. It's funny that the Spanish came in and just slapped a church on top. They're like, this hill, this is great. Let's slap a church on top. All right. Not even realizing that it's this ancient friggin' pyramid.
Dude, it's frickin' that thing. If it was still standing,
and they gave the people smallpox, and then they they ate this ayahuasca blue flower thing, and then they gave them gills. All right, and then they went in the water.
Oh God, Garrett.
they turned into blue people. Okay, that happened.
Wait, what is this one now? I don't remember this. Is this an actual place or is this a
an actual pyramid in that's the one in Mexico City. Pyramid of the Sun. Help me, chat. Pyramid of the Sun.
I don't remember this one.
Yeah, they were just showing other pyramids, right? But yeah.
Temple of the Sun, is that it?
Watching this bit, it kind of bothered me that somebody like spackled in electricity into this temple. I know you need to have electricity to see everything.
No, there's just a wire run along the edge.
No, like in some of those tunnels, they like actually spackled and like concreted in.
Oh yeah, no, they did that in Mexico. Yeah, and
I was like, you guys fucked it up.
There's a light in the interior that they had to cut out. There's a big
and there's like drill holes and stuff. I'm like, oh man, what are you doing?
It's bespoke lighting, all right, Garrett.
Look right there.
You can clearly see that.
Yeah. Look at that. It's just
spackled it in.
Nice.
There's gadung again. So that's how big that's a fucking big,
massive, man. And then it's covered up again. Like the earth took it back over.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the deal. Like, we can't do that now.
I know.
So like, there's so many things that we can't, like a pyramid of Giza, we couldn't do it.
And yet we're at the peak of our civilization.
Yeah. There's so many, there's giant what's it called? The rose granite or whatever, like just single pieces that we couldn't do today.
Right.
So what the fuck?
Well, that's why I can't wait to hear about this plasmoid stuff.
Yeah.
Randall is basically alluding to it's kind of unlocking the secrets of how they did all this stuff. And it's like, so you figured the shit out? Like, well,
I wish they called it something that wasn't so. It sounds like woo woo.
What, plasmoid?
Plasmoid. I don't know. There's something about it. It sounds weird.
I don't agree.
They should call it like. Actually, I don't know.
What should they call it, Garrett? No,
I don't know.
Go ahead. Come on.
I don't know.
I like plasmoid. I think the plasmoid
I do too.
Made up.
Like no, dude. It sounds like a 1980 new wave band, the Plasmoids.
Plasmoid.
Yeah. No, you got to have a name too. Nerdrotic and the Plasmoids or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I hear something.
Johan Naxos for $50. Thank you. I'd be happy to teach you about ham radio. Oh, awesome. If you want your mind blown about RF, look up what we used to use ELF and the geology of the earth to communicate with submarines and how certain frequencies vibrate through rocks. Wild stuff. I will definitely check that out. Hell yeah, Johan. Thank you. I love that stuff. Yeah, I think, and that can go back to, we were pretty clever, and I don't think we're as clever anymore. I think our technology's kind of made us really effing lazy, and like we should have
complacent. Really, yeah.
Where's my fucking flying car and where's my Mars base? That's all I'm saying. It should have happened already. Man, the shit planned. Where's our
Elon?
moon?
What the heck?
Where is our moon base? A moon base is completely doable. Now there's water up there. But look at this, and you're like, man, that kind of looks like Palm Springs with a fucking pyramid in it. You know, it's like crazy. And that's pretty advanced looking. And we're like supposed to believe that these people just ran around in skirts and ripped each other's hearts out for the sun god. It's like, no, I don't know.
Maybe after.
I can't believe Graham brought up giants.
Giants.
Like, I don't believe in giants. I don't know. I like
giants are in the Bible too. Nephilim.
Megalithomania is a channel I subscribe to, and they're good. It's entertaining. I don't know if I believe it or not, but Jim
Exertus believes in giants.
There you go. Well, Search for Lost Giants was a pretty fun show.
I don't know. Yeah, almost makes me believe in it less.
Damn.
I love Exertus.
So do I.
Who?
My buddy Andreas. Yeah. Andreas Exertus. He's as far out there as anyone I know, and it's wonderful.
Oh yeah, I got to. Okay,
I'm sure you know someone like that.
I know a few people like that, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Uncharted X is a great channel. Demos, Uncharted X and Brian Forster. I subscribe to all of them. Love all those guys. Uncharted X he's like Graham. He's very grounded, like does good work, does good long videos. His live streams are pretty entertaining. You talk to Randall in a couple of them.
I like that. Uncharted X. I'll check that out.
Yeah, I'm reading on plasmoids. So a plasmoid is a coherent structure of plasma and magnetic fields. Plasmoids have been proposed to explain natural phenomena such as ball lightning. So that's like whenever a lightning turns into a ball, and they've seen it multiple times.
Dude, they got video of ball lightning now.
Insane.
Yeah, they do. It's cool looking.
So figuring out, so it's something that definitely does exist.
That was crazy.
So it's something that definitely exists. We know it exists. We're just trying to figure out how to harness that for power. Dude, I want to know it.
Plasmoids were also.
I want to know what you're doing, Randall.
The Plasmoids were also a band out of LA from 1979 to 1981. Their lead singer overdosed on a speedball.
Is this real?
No.
I want it to be real.
Plasmoids.
So this is what they're doing. I like the animation. So what they have is Graham sit down with his little notebook, and then the animations spring out of it.
Yeah, it's cool. I like it.
So this is another legend of
taking notes.
The giants built this pyramid, right? And this is a legend out of Mexico. Lots, and I mean lots and lots of legends about giants in the Americas. Like there is in the Bible.
It's in the Bible. It was in what was the last in the 5th episode? He talked about another set of like 5 giants that came down and gave people knowledge and built.
Yeah, and then there was that.
It's like the same thing again.
I was on Malta, the female giant who got busy with with the regular size.
I was like,
guy.
damn, dude.
I was like, how'd that happen?
He got up in there.
No, he got up in there.
Literally, and death by snoo.
Yeah,
I got up in there. Oh shit!
Look at that, girl.
Yeah, no, there's lots of indigenous people have legends of giants here, and it's interesting. Supposedly, a bunch of bones were found in the early 1900s, and they disappeared. A Smithsonian conspiracy or bullshit? We'll never know until we find some. Although David Hatcher Childress found some skulls on an Ancient Aliens episode and showed them off, like big giant, and he had a regular skull in his hand,
Yeah.
and he found him in a fucking cupboard at a college.
What
And
the
he's
hell?
like, yeah, these are just here. And he opens up the cupboard, and there's 3 fucking giant skulls. And he's all, yeah. And
Yeah,
like,
so there's a thing.
it's 7
baffles
foot
everybody.
people, 7 foot people. That the giants were like 7, 8 foot, 9 foot. There is some stories that go to like not so, but
Well, I don't. Again, it kind of tracks. I feel like there was giant beavers and giggity, and there were giant, giant fauna.
there were 6 foot beavers in America.
Right there, yeah,
That's a nice beaver.
that's a good beaver right there. They're giant. These
I'm gonna
giant.
climb
mammals,
up in that
right?
beaver
So
right
why
there.
not? Why not? Why couldn't people be larger?
What?
And then we got smaller over time. And then there's pygmies out there that are really small. So like I think
Dude,
there's a spectrum of people sizes.
This makes me think of the
America-
Muter
Body
Museum.
positive.
You know
Well,
the Muter. Do you know the Muter Museum?
No,
You ever hear about that?
no.
It's this museum in Philadelphia, and it's like an oddities museum, and they have the skeleton of the world's tallest man and the world's shortest man, and it's like
together.
right next to
Oh,
each
that's
other.
awesome.
And I remember being there, and I'm like, it's like an 8 foot tall skeleton of a human,
Yeah.
and they
Oh,
exist.
they had a recreation of that.
The extremes exist, but it's like that doesn't mean anything. I don't know.
No,
Sure,
it doesn't. But the extremes existed with the megafauna for sure. That bring it back to Randall that died supposedly from man was overhunted, but
bullshit.
That's total bullshit because a lot of those animals you didn't hunt. So it's crazy. But we had giant woolly rhinos that were as big as a fucking van. We had 4 species of elephant. We had horses. We
giant
had
sloth. Eric
cow,
K.
giant sloth that was,
Giant
and I saw a skeleton of one of those at the museum, Natural History Museum.
The giant snakes.
In the museum in London.
I heard those bones aren't real, Gary.
The snakes?
All bones in museums, I was told, that are not real.
totally
I don't believe it, but
some aren't because they don't have the full skeleton. But
I went to the museum in New York City outside of Central Park. What's that one called?
Natural History Museum.
Natural History, right? And I was going through all of like the exhibits, and they don't specify what's a recreation and what's an actual artifact. So it was hard to tell because you could definitely tell some of them were recreations. I was like, this is definitely not an actual artifact. But then I'm like, well, then how do I tell? Because it doesn't say this is recreation, this is an artifact.
Well,
it's like hard to tell.
Next time you're there, just go in and touch it, pick it up, see what happens, Garrett.
See if they care.
Yeah, that's true.
That London Natural History Museum, they had stuffed animals. I say stuffed, they're taxidermy.
Yeah.
Like they had a bear in there, just like a regular black bear. It was so fucking old that the fur was fading. So
that was like the Natural History Museum there. It was like the lions and shit were just like,
yeah, it's kind of sad. Sad looking.
They're like 100 years old.
Blue whale's cool, but that's all fake.
Yeah.
But it's big though.
Big, pretty cool.
It's big. So a lot of the stuff in Mexico was just trying to suss out, through like what he's piecing together is, and this is why it's a primer, is commonalities, and he didn't get to half of them in this first season.
I know
there are so fucking many that are, because he's been to so many places, and this thing could have gone 20 episodes, and I would have watched.
He really leaves it up to you to make the connections. Like he kind of alludes to it and he goes, well, here's a civilization that built this place and they built it on top of something and they were pointing at a star and they had a myth about somebody giving them knowledge and snakes and floods. But he never goes, and here's a list of all of the things that are all connected. I want that. I want a graphic.
He brought up Atlantis because he wouldn't for the longest time. I love how Randall will just go ahead and bring it up. He's like, I don't give a fuck, Atlantis. I'll say it. And it's
I want like an infographic, just like
Atlantis,
everything that's connected.
After listening to Randall's both 12-hour live stream, which is like 12 different lives, it's 10, but they're long. And then if you go on HowTube, and I think if you pay $20, you get the full seminar. cannot recommend it enough. It's something you want to listen to while you're going to sleep, and it'll take you like a month to get through. But like Randall breaks down like how Atlantis is in the Azores, where Plato said it was, where all the archaeologists and scientists and geologists said, nope, there was never a piece of continent there. And he's all, well, the first mistake you made is Plato never said continent. He said island. And then they break down how there's islands there. And then he breaks down how it's where there's a major fault line. And he talks about the timeline. And I forgot what the term he uses. He talks about it on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he equates it to when you get up from a seat, the seat will do that. That's what the crust does. So we have displacement. So 2 miles of ice over North America melts pretty fucking quickly. Well, that land's going to pop back up because that's a lot of weight on that land, and that needs to be adjusted somewhere. And it could have been there, and that's what brought
just goes down. Now your civilization is underwater.
But he goes way deeper than that. Like there's soil samples, and there's proof that a mile down there's beach that's not that old. So like he gets into it and makes a compelling argument. Not saying he answers it. It's a compelling argument.
Isostatic rebound, chat is saying.
That's it.
Chat for the win.
Chat always wins.
Yeah.
Chat's the shit.
Chat's the best.
That's the best.
One thing that he didn't even talk about at all, which I've seen a lot of different documentaries on, although it looks like he's doing that right there, is the similarities in the architecture and the way that joints are connected.
Yeah.
With the perfect cuts and like the T shapes that are within walls of the big, huge, like monolithic stoneworks that is all over the planet. They have very similar cuts.
They have this T-shaped thing cut into the stone that they poured metal in to keep the stone together. David Hatcher Childress talked about that quite a bit. So did I think they're definitely saving that for next season. Right. Like the man bags, the little
they mentioned that actually. They mentioned that
a little bit, but like that one is, dude. There's one, the Olmec culture has it. Maria has it. Egypt has it. Gobekli Tepe has it. Like,
what's in that bag, man? What's in the bag?
What's in the bag?
Whatever that bag is.
Very weird. It's very weird.
Yeah.
Again, these disparate cultures that should not have any contact, having very similar through lines in their myths and their histories. What does it mean? Why is it there? Oh, I'm sorry. It's the science has been settled. I forgot. Can't ask any questions.
I am so pissed because I saw Malta, and I was in Sicily 3 years ago, and I could have gone on a fucking boat and just
got so close.
So close.
Been there.
I'm so mad. I'm so fucking mad. So I got to go back.
Yeah, when you do the UK meetup next year, maybe just
just pop over there.
Pop down there real quick.
It's turning into like I'll probably be over there for a month.
Just like I got to do it, man.
Yeah, I'll just bring my recording equipment.
Yep.
Some Airbnb and just be there for a month. It's whatever.
I got family friends over there. I could just stay with them.
Where? In the UK?
In the UK, yeah.
Oh, cool. I'm gonna stay at Az's house.
Just stay at Az's house.
He doesn't know it yet, but that's where I'm staying.
Oh, wonderful.
Or Mahler's house. I'll just invite myself somewhere.
Just show up.
Just show up to Drinker's house. What's up, dude?
Hey,
let's go to an AA meeting.
Got my sleeping bag.
Avery Watkins for $50. You guys are crazy. Hey, first time super chat. We'll be gentle. Just want to say thanks for all you guys do and giving us a voice. Love to listen on Spotify and YouTube when working. That's awesome. As a Hoosier, there's plenty of land ripples here and glacier scars. Hail all, rock on, brothers. Yeah. The kind of stuff you don't think about until you listen to Randall Carlson, and then all of a sudden you're starting to look at the land around.
Oh,
like Texas. There's not a lot. Texas was
very
under
flat.
the water. Was under the water for a very, very, very long time. So it's all limestone. But it's because I've been listening to Randall for years. Like I understand this stuff. We've got plateaus that were just mountains that were underwater. But yeah, it was a giant. It was the bottom of the sea for a very long time, and then it's not. And it's not very. It's not like California. California's got. It's got everything.
It's got a lot of stuff.
Absolutely everything. Yeah. But oh look.
Oh, sexy ladies in the chat.
Sexy ladies in the chat. New AI dating for all. You don't want an AI date?
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
I don't want to meet the person that gets hoodwinked into going down one of these bots.
That's so
I don't
sad.
get that. I don't
the
get
movie
that.
Her, right? You saw that movie, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh man.
What kind of they have to work, right? Because they do it.
It's gotta work. There's
Who
gotta
is
be
the sad person that does it.
Oh, fuck you, YouTube.
Don't get it.
What'd you do?
How can they demonetize this? How can you? Come on.
How dare you?
Wait, this live stream that we're on right now?
The live stream we're on right now got
We said the
demonetized.
science was settled.
We said the YouTube science was settled.
Yeah, YouTube.
Yeah, we're on your side, YouTube.
YouTube, come on, man. Come on, man.
Well,
Come on, man.
not demonetized. We're still getting super chats, but like like de-boosted in the algorithms for
yeah.
ads.
Well, I didn't see it. I didn't see this live stream in my subscription feed at all from Nerdrotic.
You know, I didn't either.
Oh wow.
That was very
Actually, neither did I.
yeah. And it's
Sus.
a very,
Interesting.
very, very sus, and it probably
It's-
has to do
It's
with
probably because I'm on the show.
no. It's the subject matter.
Maybe
But-
a combination.
I'm gonna put. Hang on. I was gonna put it on slow mode.
Well, cheers to everyone who showed up anyway. Then,
Yeah.
because that's awesome. It's a huge crowd for.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you all. Sorry, I got to put it on slow mode because that keeps the porn
bots in-
Bots
I
out.
don't mean to take work away from the porn bots. It's honest work if you can get it. But
One of the oldest professions.
oldest professions.
Porn
and
bots.
Porn
Porn
bots.
bots.
You know, I did that thing that Mahler suggested. He said, like, take the icons that they always use, the emojis, and then ban those, the ones that nobody uses except for porn bots. And it kind of really cleaned up my chat.
And
So
Ryan Cannell's really known for using emojis a lot.
yeah, him too. Yeah. So at least it gets him out of my chat.
Yeah, good
Right.
riddance.
Good riddance, you freaking bigot.
Is
So
this Malta here?
This is Malta. This is
Okay.
like, oh, this looks so awesome. This is Göbekli Tepe, dude. Like that's the.
Well,
I was.
Very similar.
They are the
Of
same
Malta.
thing. And they are the same age. Now he alludes to it, and you could tell Graham is being.
He's wanted to say it.
He's on Netflix, so he's
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna bring him in slow. I'm gonna bring him in slow.
Yeah.
But like, I tell you what, Graham Handcock absolutely believes that this is probably the same age as Göbekli Tepe or very close within
Right.
1,000 years.
Mhm.
Now they say this is a few thousand years younger than Göbekli Tepe, but dude, it's set up damn near the same way.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to.
It looks
talk
like
about.
it's younger, right? This is.
A lot younger, they say.
It
Bullshit.
looks like a more advanced version of Göbekli Tepe.
See
like
if you
a
can
more-
find the overview of all of Malta where it has like the different arrows
Oh,
of where
yeah,
they're pointing.
yeah. We'll get to
Because-
that. Yeah.
Because that's what I want to talk about.
It's
The
episode
fact
3.
that it really, and this is what Graham never does in all of this season. He doesn't talk about the fact that it seems like the humans that were building these were like, it was documenting the stars and when events happened and the way. It's almost like they were trying to calculate over thousands of years the wobble of the earth,
Yeah.
you know, and where they were falling in line with the meteorite belt, the Taurids. You know, it's like they were trying to document it, and the only way that they knew how was to make something that would be able to withstand floods and all the stuff, which is why I think they buried this stuff. They're like, all right, we have this stuff documented. Let's bury it so it can't get messed with.
Yeah.
So we can
So it doesn't
cross-check it
change.
in like 4,000 years. We can come back and make sure and see what has changed.
So
You know,
this,
Right, here we go.
for me, as somebody who's read a lot of Graham, this is new information. This is not information I've heard in his books or anything. so making this connection with Sirius. So he talked
right. The star that they're all that's what the arrows are pointing at.
All the arrows are pointing towards Sirius over a period of a long time.
Tens of thousands of years.
Yeah, and these temples, and the same thing, Göbekli Tepe was doing the same fucking thing.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing.
Weird. It's incredible. It's incredible that for one, that there's this many temples. Like, I thought there was just, was it Gigantia or whatever the hell it's called?
Yeah, that one. There's that one.
That's the last one, right? That was the very last one. And they show in this, the first one that they built, it was like a small, kind of older, definitely not as advanced as Gigantia or whatever it was called. The first ones were smaller and less refined. And then the further down you go, you can almost track as they track every time they build one, they go, okay, that's Sirius. They build it here. And then the next one, it gets a little more advanced. And the next one gets more advanced. And then all the way down to
and the older one,
and it's
the smaller
large.
Island. So for one, Graham does mention that, like, he believes that these temples, where they started building these temples, they didn't get, nobody took boats out to this island. He says they walked here. They walked here because they were able to, because it was connected to Sicily.
Well, he showed it too. He removes the water. It's really cool how he does that. So it shows the landmass where it used to just be a full landmass. I don't know if it's in this one.
I think it is in this one.
I am just so obsessed with the fact that there are things underneath Göbekli Tepe that they know that there's buried under there. There's like 5 more sites underneath, which it's like, how can we ignore? How are the scientists ignoring that? If you, that's Göbekli Tepe, isn't it? Right there.
No, this is Manajadra. This is
okay. Oh, it looks like the similar.
It does
system.
Yeah. It's the same roof.
But if that's the oldest known site, megalithic site that we've ever found, it is very similar. And underneath that site, there's other sites. It proves that it's not the oldest thing we found. We just got to go a little bit deeper down and see that should be the highest priority to me, is like going down below that and seeing what was there, how old that is.
Yeah.
This is very clear to me that they're trying to document the movement of the stars to truly understand the wobble of Earth. So that, and pinpoint when they go through these meteor showers to really understand.
That's the question, is why is the wobble so important to them? And it must have been just an absolute, imagine you're an ancestor, and like, again, Velikovsky talked about like how this is imprinted in our DNA. Somebody else mentioned it in the chat, like the fear of this, because the human race was almost wiped out, and not that long ago.
And we still could be right now.
Yeah, we still could be now.
We're not safe from these things. I know that NASA's got DART, and it was slightly successful,
but it won't work on a big one, not yet.
Exactly. And we, if something were to suddenly from interstellar space come right at us, and we find out we're 8 months out,
screwed.
What the hell are we gonna do? Dude, nothing.
Even if it doesn't need to be a planet killer, it just needs to be a semi big one that hits the ocean. Holy shit! Like that big volcano that blew up near Tonga a few months back. Like, we're going to be dealing with that for 2 years. That's going to fuck with our climate.
Krakatoa? No.
No, it was the one that there's a bunch of video. It was like in January.
Yeah. I forget.
That was the South Pacific. Well, we're going to be dealing with the repercussions of that for 2 years. Yeah. It belched a lot of shit in our atmosphere. It's going to make things either colder or hotter.
Imagine that on a larger scale.
Toba. Thank you. Toba.
100 times larger.
Tonga.
And
Tonga Bonga. I love chat right now. It's fun.
Chat is
hilarious.
That is
it released more CO2 into the atmosphere than like humans have done in 50 years or some crazy number. It's like, wow. Okay. Climate change.
For this, I think another explanation could be that what if it was a civilization that could build these temples and they were worshiping that
Osiris.
star.
Yep.
They were worshiping that star, and every time they'd have this certain, like, the solstice or whatever time of the year that they wanted to build this monument, they would focus that monument towards that star. So over time, we naturally got this kind of tracking of that star.
But here's the deal.
Through them just worshiping the star.
Okay, even if you're worshiping the star, and like, listen, we build crazy temples and churches. We, some of the churches, I can't call them churches, cathedrals that we built in the 1300s were fucking incredible and haven't been equaled to this day. But for worship, I get it. But man, you're hunter gatherers, and you need to.
It's a lot of time and resources
to cut these stones, and like they look dilapidated now, but they look pretty. It's a pretty impressive structure. I haven't seen it. They rebuilt it what it was supposed to look like, and it's crazy. I'll show you.
Well, Stonehenge was, all dilapidated and broken down. They rebuilt that.
Like, look at that thing. That's like 5 stories tall,
dude. And those blocks are effing huge.
Hunter gatherers built that, guys. Bullshit.
It was Merlin.
Yeah.
Merlin. There we go. It's true.
Merlin. Well, they say Merlin.
There he is. He's standing in the middle. There's Merlin.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Yeah.
All the way up to the top.
I don't know what that means.
It's fucking Harry
Spell,
Potter.
you freaking
Spell.
dude.
I've never watched Harry Potter.
Get out of here.
Y'all are dorks.
Yep.
I hate you.
I hate you. Get off this show.
Oh, you just not the killing curse. Oh, easy.
I had to whip it
It's
out.
an unforgivable curse there.
Everything can be weaponized, I mean, there's a company that's trying to work on geosynchronous orbit. What are they called? Solar arrays, which will send energy down to the planet. And obviously, the governments are like, we're worried that's going to be weaponized. It's like everything can be weaponized.
Everything
is weaponized. The internet is weaponized against you.
Harry Pothead.
Algorithms.
Harry Pothead. Mostly gluten for $10 says, is anybody else worried that DART will be weaponized? Yeah, I agree. What Adam was just saying. Yes, it will. Everything will be weaponized. Every plasmoids will be weaponized.
Plasmoids.
Yep. Yes, they will.
We are
sadly
human beings.
Their music was weaponized.
Nickelback should be weaponized. No, they're not.
Dude, it's torture.
Not as bad as Bon Jovi. They should weaponize Bon Jovi. Didn't they? What did they?
It's my life. Oh,
who was the guy?
Wow, 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 wow.
Who was the dictator of Panama back in the 90s?
No idea.
They were blasting like David Bowie at him at like all night. I'm like,
good music.
Gonna get me mad.
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
All right, David Bowie.
Noriega, chat saying.
Yeah, Noriega. Thank you. God, I knew that. It's just I'm getting old. Did he die in prison? He must have died in prison.
No idea. I'm still building my backlog of political knowledge because I only started this political journey like 2 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, really? What's that?
Oh, well.
Oh,
I've
really?
studied it for decades.
Well.
Little bit of a political wonk myself.
Yeah, this is the place in Malta that I was referencing. That one spot. He made it seem like there was only one there, and then he was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, there's like 20 more, all over the place."
Yeah. Because of that,
like,
the thing is, they're probably not as impressive or really.
Yeah, this was. They said it in this. This is the most impressive one,
right?
And like, there's so much shit that's just completely fucked up. Again, when I went to Sicily, there was Greek temples and Roman temples, and like on the same site, there started with a Greek temple, and then there was a Roman temple, another Roman temple, and those are all put back together. And then we went like on another tour where they just showed us everything, and most everything is just in rubble, just fucking spread out, destroyed.
You got grave robber type people in scavenging it, repurposing it, building shit on top of it. Yeah,
that's kind of like Hollywood right now.
Well, that argument of like, where's the trash? Where's the stuff? And it's like, well, don't you know there's like people in the Middle East that are just like shooting rockets at like these ancient towers, ancient like statues, just simply to destroy them, just because they want. They're like, I don't like the look of that Egyptian looking dude. Rocket launcher, boom, like it's gone. Like humans, man.
Well, whenever you conquer an area, you rip down their shit, you burn their libraries, you do all that so you can place yourself back at the top. That happened in Mesoamerica. They had tons of books, libraries of their their Mayan stuff. And then the Catholic Church came in and just wrecked the shit out of it, burned it.
There's only like 4 left. There's only 4 Mayan.
Imagine what was in there. Imagine.
Like secret ayahuasca that would keep Joe Rogan high for the rest of his life.
He'd just never come back.
He'd just never come back.
Just go on a trip.
Yeah, I my only complaint, I just wanted more, but that's how good this thing was, right? Like I just wanted more, but there is more. Get those books. He's got a lot of good books, good audio books. And Randall just did a series of like, it took him like 10 episodes. I can't remember, but he was talking about all the insane wildfires we had back in the 1800s, like just insane, killed thousands of people, wiped out a town in Wisconsin completely. And he was hypothesizing, and he took a long time to get there, that we were going through the torrid media stream and these fires were started from above, not from a cow, or the Great Chicago Fire, not from a cow kicking over a lantern. Like these were.
That's right. Yeah. Because they're very separate areas that started at the same time.
And even talked about the fire up in Northern California that I was around that happened in October that wiped out Santa Rosa. It's fucking gnarly fire. Gnarly. As a matter of fact, my kid was signed up to go to a school there and the school burned down.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I did see some videos of a couple members of a certain group that's just an idea that was lighting up things and throwing them into the forest.
Yep. And shooting.
That's
things.
just love, Adam. That's love.
Right.
That's what they're trying to spread.
The YouTube science tells us that they were in love.
It was a summer of love. Right.
Oh, fire. That fire was intense. Like,
so cool.
About like how they're a little more intense than normal. And I've seen a ton of fires in California, and I haven't seen anything like that before. Like that was nuts. San Diego almost burned down. Like people don't remember this. Remember when they back years ago, they canceled a Monday night game the Chargers had to play in Arizona because the San Diego Stadium was like basically a place. It was a
refuge.
It was a refuge for people to go. And like it jumped a 12-lane freeway. Like it was intense.
Wow.
That the one up in Northern California was way worse than that one. Way worse. The sky was freaking orange. It was crazy. Never seen anything like it.
I like that Norm Macdonald quote. It says here in the history books, luckily the good guys always won. Every single time.
Every single time.
What are the odds?
And then they told the truth after they won.
Yeah.
Totally strange.
Mm-hmm.
Hagar Quim North. I don't know what that is. That might be one of those other sites.
I don't remember where that one is. That's Osiris right there.
There's the boat.
And ISIS. There's ISIS right there. She's about to hook up with Shazam. Then they go to the Bimini Road.
Oh, yeah, that was cool. What I liked about this one, too, is I've seen the Bimini Road before. I've seen the photos of it. I've seen people like down there. But they took away the water, which was cool. And you could see how it lays out and what it possibly could be if the water level is at a different.
It was a little more convincing to me after I saw it because I've never been a massive believer in the Bimini Road because I could never freaking see it. But when you see it compared,
they showed under it
the two roads, and then when you go under it, that like it's being leveled. That like that's weird.
That's
that is weird
engineering.
But it looked almost like a roadway from what would be the docks where the boats would park
down,
and then like going up the to the next level.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out what it could be.
It could be like a little oceanside town or something, or the city docks, like going up into a city. That's what it kind of looked like to me.
Well, if you don't,
it was massive. It was fucking huge. They showed like boats next to it, and they were tiny.
The Giza Plateau, like surrounding the pyramids, it's not ground that's surrounding them. Those are giant blocks that are put down. So they are surrounded by giant blocks.
How did they do that? How did they do that?
They're fucking huge, and I don't know how they did that. But it's the pyramids don't just come out on the ground. There is cut stone that is put down as a floor,
as a base.
What's the Egyptologist like? What are their conventional explanations for this?
What for
that they moved him on?
No one talks about those. The base.
They moved it on like wet sand. I heard that one that they moved them on like rolling.
They do a whole thing on it.
There's also the theory
maybe?
that they floated them all.
Yeah,
that's an interesting theory.
Contemporary archaeology believes that they build ramps. That
like sand ramps.
The ramps would have to be a 1/4 mile long, and they'd have to be sand. But even if you had sand, you have very, very heavy rocks that you're lifting that would collapse the sand.
Right.
And then they've never found where'd all the other sand go. And it couldn't have been a wooden ramp. And how did they get the stone from some places, the casing stone from Aswan, which is miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. So
I think the floating theory is the most the one that makes the most sense at the moment.
The priests who would do like the certain humming, or they would do a chant, right? And they would be able to float the stone. That was
like with their
no. They tied it with I don't remember, like balsa wood, or they would tie wood to it, and the Nile used to go right up to.
Oh, you mean like floating, like on water?
Yeah.
Floated.
And they would make tunnels going up, like the King's Walk. That used to be a sealed tunnel, and they would actually float along the tunnel. And then there's this like a dam that they would open, and it would float up to the top, and then they would close it. And it's an interesting. There's a couple different videos
that might explain the smaller blocks, but that will not explain the inside blocks.
Agreed. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. True.
Fucking way.
That's how they would build up the pyramid, but not the base of the pyramid.
The inside of the pyramid has giant, multi-ton megalithic blocks that are lifted up 300 feet. Like, how the fuck did they do that?
Mm-hmm.
It baffles me. It fucking baffles me. Like, we should have. It would be so expensive, but just try and build it. Somebody should go out there and just try and do it. We have like a massive a complete country needs to like fund it and be like, all right, we're gonna build one.
Here, Robert McDonald,
how to do it.
Robert McDonald brings up a good point. Thank you for the $50, Robert. I appreciate it. Humans went from being able to go around so between 1492 and 1992, humans went from being able to go around the Earth to being able to go to the moon, and the genetically same humans over the previous 150,000 years. It's going further back than that, homie. Now it's going
300. He said,
300. Yeah. To not go from eating their own poop to making written language. Great point. Same humans, same brain, same everything, and we were hunter gatherers for 95% of our existence. It's probably more than that. I don't know. It's a little crazy.
Strange to me.
I wanted him to he kind of just mentions that oh yeah, well there's some evidence that says we go back 150 to 300,000 years with the same brain, and it's like it kind of was all that he gave us. And I was like, ooh, that's kind of contentious, and you're gonna need to delve into that point a lot more. I would personally like to know more about like how he even got to that. Where are you finding this information? What skeletons are they finding that actually proves that? Because I know a lot of people are going to be like, that's bullshit. I don't believe it. Nope.
And then they go, the whole show is ridiculous. Every single fact
disproves everything. This guy's the pseudo-human. Pseudo-human. Yeah.
The pseudo. I just saw. Oh, here's this one. God, this makes me sick. If it's true. Dr. Devote for 10 Australian dollars. Where's the trash? Egyptian authorities recently crushed and buried tens of thousands of excavated jars and bowls recovered from Dozier stepped pyramid, broken to pieces and used as lamp. Sell that shit, you dumb motherfuckers. Put it on fucking eBay. And like I would buy a jar from the step pyramid.
And so many people whine about museums having artifacts from Egypt, and everybody's like, why don't you give it back to the cultures you stole it from, you colonizers? Egypt did this. Egypt crushed and buried their own stuff and put it in a landfill.
Did you see the new sarcophagus that they just found?
No.
You know what they did? They all stood around it and opened it. They were like, "Oh, look at this!
Just
all right, someone take this!" And they're all like looking at it, and it's just like no one's wearing masks. It's just like in an open air environment. Like, what are you guys?
I wish
doing?
the mummy was true. I wish it would like unleash a mummy curse and fucking like,
oh my god,
suck their souls out or something.
Maybe
nice job. Way to preserve it, guys. Jeez.
Good God.
Oh man.
That is a little depressing. I have to say.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
A little depressing. All right. We're going to read some soups, guys.
Cool.
We got a lot of them here.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Scrolling down. Here we go. Oh, we got, do we have any? Hang on. Refresh. Anytime now, you can refresh. Thank you very much. WG for $50 on the stream.
Hey!
Last summer, I went to my first archaeological mass extinction survey with my uncle, heading to the Arctic next summer to do the same. I'll keep you posted. Dude, I want to know. Why did do?
Cool.
WG, video document every second of that. You can skip when you go to the bathroom, but I want to know everything else.
And maybe when you're sleeping too, we're good.
Yeah, just jump to the good parts, but like most
jump to the good parts. Yeah. I want to know everything, dude. That sounds awesome. I would never go down the Arctic though. No way. Not even if given an opportunity. Hell no.
Well, you wouldn't go through the Arctic?
No.
I'm gonna go to the Arctic. Well, find the big hole where you can go inside the center of the earth.
My wife lived on a boat for 6 months. It was a huge sailboat, and she traveled around the South Pacific. And they actually just went up through the Arctic Circle. One of the few ships that actually have taken that trip. And because the way that the ice is now, they were able to go straight through. It's pretty cool. There's actually a documentary on it, and we were watching it. She's all excited.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Yeah. They also went down to Antarctica, which is cool. What a freaking adventure these guys go on. It's pretty cool.
That's amazing. Yeah, the adventurers can do that. I'll go to Turkey and stuff.
We'll go to Turkey. It's warm in Turkey.
It's warm in Turkey. I'm not going anywhere where it's like frozen and ice. It's just
chance of death.
Really good.
I don't know. It's still too cold.
It's pretty high up there.
Narrowly avoided enough death in my life, so I'm cool. Midnight.
I'll just go to Turkey.
I don't know. People in chat I saw people were like, Turkey is safe. Like, it's fine.
Is it? I hope so.
No, I mean, wasn't America still bombing Syria fairly recently? I mean,
I'm saying this from living in America, and we have Chicago. So, I mean, I'm not saying that we're the most safe place in the world.
That's a good point.
That's a really good point. Sorry, Turkey. I apologize.
The closest I've ever been to getting killed is in Chicago, actually. So
there you go.
Yeah,
you hail from Chicago. So
have been in America. They have been in America.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for covering this review, Gary. We need you to carry Art Bell's mantle forward. You have the talent and the audience. Keep it up. Hail, says Midnight for $10. Well, thank you.
Agreed.
That's very kind. I could never measure up to Art Bell, but I could definitely talk about this stuff for the rest of my life without a problem. That the experts and scientists, there's air quotes here, I'm just mimicking them, aren't listening to the folklore doesn't surprise me. Look how long it took to find Franklin ships, while the Inuit knew where they all were the whole time. Nobody listened to them. El Presidente for $10. They never do. The Hopi, I mean, yeah, the Native Americans obviously got screwed, and they continue to get screwed, and they have a lot. There's a good reason why they don't talk to a lot of people, especially the elders. They only talk to very few people, and that I don't blame them at all. But we should be listening to them a lot.
The guy, the Indian dude who's talking about democracy, just popped in my head. He's like, well, democracy, but the people are retarded. It's just like,
retarded.
That's it.
People,
That's why.
of the people.
By the people.
For the people.
Of the people.
But the people. Are
retarded.
I love that guy.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Yeah, the people are retarded.
He's not wrong.
The Grizzly 617 for $10 says, what do you guys think of the ancient astronauts theory? I'm not sold. I think we probably among a very, very few sentient species out there in the universe, let alone ones that have body plans to have tools, but I'm willing to hear the evidence. Well, for me, I totally believe in aliens, and I think they're here, and I think there's tons of life in the universe. But I think a lot of I think Ancient Aliens has kind of led a lot of people to Graham, which I think is great. So they've brought a lot of things to light, but I don't necessarily, I read all those books, but I think man built 99.9%, if not 100% of the stuff we're looking at, and it's just a more advanced version of man, of us. That's what I believe. I still believe in aliens, though. I think they're fucking visiting. I think they're keeping an eye on us, and I think they don't want to fuck with us because we're too what do
Crazy.
they need? Yeah,
retarded.
Yeah,
they're like, oh no, not going down there.
Yikes.
I think there's definitely a possibility that there are not. I don't know if they're intelligent life. Are we intelligent? I don't know. But I think there's definitely life. There's got to be out there. There's so many stars, so many planets, so many. But
the Drake equation.
One of the things, though, is like
it's flawed.
The mathematical possibility of them being even in the same time period as us,
right,
and advanced enough to cross stars to get to us. I don't know.
What we're seeing is not the aliens. We're seeing what I think is genetically engineered machines that fly these ships that are sent out to keep an eye on us.
Like a satellite. What's that?
You think?
Yeah. Oumuamua, but like they just James Fox just did a great documentary on the Brazilian Roswell, which was seen by a lot of fucking people. A lot of people saw the same fucking thing, and I've just finished reading
drones. So they're like
they're drones. They're basically drones. Yeah, they're manufactured.
I mean that's what we're doing.
But
we're doing the same thing.
You watch James Fox.
If we saw another civilization on a planet, we would do the exact same thing.
If you watch James Fox documentary, like they talk about smells, and a bunch of people say the same thing. I smelled ammonia. People didn't talk to each other. It's like crazy shit. It's a good documentary. It's on Amazon Prime. By the way, the Pyramid Code is on Amazon Prime as well.
Oh, nice. Check that out. That's awesome.
Oh, that's got Robert Duvall and John Anthony West. It's a classic. Absolute classic. But yeah, Ancient Aliens, other than like maybe they crashed here many years ago and we found a ship and dug it up. Sure, I could believe that. But no, I think
I'm too drunk for this. Or you're just drunk enough.
I just got finished reading again Philip Corso's The Day After Roswell, which is a fucking trip. That shit is a trip. So if you've not heard it, he died in 98. Art Bell had him on a long time, but he was a high-ranking government official on his basically towards the end of his life, spilled everything. Got discredited by the government, but the guy, like, of
course,
the guy was on Eisenhower's staff. This dude was high-ranking, and I know a bunch of people are misinformation. Maybe the most interesting thing about that book, aside from the UFOs, is how many communists were in our government. That's the crazy shit. That's the one I didn't pick up 20 years ago when I read the book, and I'm reading it now. It's like, holy shit.
Seems like
McCarthy was right.
There still is a lot of
there is
in our government.
There absolutely is. Crazy shit. So we're gonna go back to this side. Here we go. Leighton Grooming for $1.99. Thank you. Had to search to find it on Netflix, says Eskimo Phono for $2. I didn't. It was like, but maybe because I watched it. Netflix is
not me. When I logged into Netflix, it was like top thing rated for. I had never even touched it at all. I just
it did that for me once.
Number 6. It was trending number 6
That's
on
really
all of
good.
Netflix.
Really good. I hope a lot of people watch it. I do. If you watch the deleted scenes, Graham Handcock talks about how the wise and ancient ones brought us our greatest gift, pineapple pizza. Says Edward Brown. I agree. It was actually the pre-Italians who made up pineapple pizza. Actually came first. It did.
From Malta. That's actually
from Malta.
On their big stones. You go and it's just pineapple and pizzas.
They had pizza ovens. That's right, and it was. There you go.
You know, pineapples used to be so expensive back in the day that rich people would rent them and carry them around at parties.
And they were like,
be like, look at my pineapple. I'm richer than you. And then they'd return them. And
now if you see a pineapple at a party, you leave that party.
What? Really?
Yeah. So pineapple on pizza, that was like, whoa. That's
a delicacy.
You actually cut that pineapple up? Wow. Big baller over here. Big baller. Mm-hmm.
Mr. Wolverine, dude, it's it just made me think of Hawaii, Maui. Where I just you buy pineapple, just hack that thing open and eat it. It's so good. Mr. Wolverine 007 for $5. It's great to see people bringing the stuff up again, like Dr. Jonathan Gray, the Australian archaeologist, did years ago. I'll have to look him up. The fantastic Mr. Knox for $5 Australian.
Hey.
What's up, man? The archaeologists right now don't want to listen to new findings, and instead they want you to accept only the right download. Yep. Academia, I think it's run its course.
Yeah.
I think
it's not about teaching stuff anymore. It's about maintaining the status quo and indoctrination. That's it. That's what academia is.
Yep.
Across the board. Maybe like doctorates on like brain surgery or like specific things that you need that higher education to truly understand. But like, let's be honest, like gender studies.
No, it needs to go way back to basics. Math, English, brain surgery, astrophysics. Totally down with that stuff. Real science, but all these studies can go fuck right off. They're absolutely useless.
Yeah,
and it's
go in debt with us for the rest of your life because you need to learn this useless shit while
they're very
teach you how to be a better human being.
Our society.
This is how you are a proper human.
They are knowledge gatekeepers. You go there to get the knowledge. You have to pay a certain amount of money, and you get the official knowledge from the official. And it's just we don't live in that world anymore.
Graham had a good
go online
that I wrote down from the Joe Rogan experiment. He said, "Our past is everybody's past. We all own our history. It's not owned by the academics. It's not owned by these people they say they're experts and they don't ever want to listen to anything. It's everybody's past. It's all of our history. So we have the right to ask questions about it. We have the right to investigate what the possibilities could be. And that's just not how science works. Like whenever for science, you test a hypothesis until you find out that it is fact. And then you say, hey, everybody, test this. They test it. They find out it's fact. Whenever you come up to something like this, like archaeology,
and then you continue to test it forever, even if
you test it, then you make that the bar, and you go, okay, now I'm going to test it back on this. Does it still hold true? The way that it seems that they're like archaeology and this type of experts, they set their hypothesis and they say that is the hypothesis. Do not question it. But it's like, well, we still have a lot of mysteries. Like you can't explain how pyramids were made in Egypt.
Clovis
There's
first.
Something there. Okay.
Clovis first all the time. He talks about Clovis first.
Clovis first, right? So it's like you get new information, you adapt your theories to fit the information, not the theory. That's a Sherlock Holmes quote. You don't have a theory to fit the facts. You have facts, and then you make a theory based upon the facts.
Sandy Q for $10 says, as a historian who does some archaeology, I'm here for the entertainment only. Probably laughing her asses off. It's fine. You can laugh at our expense. I'm okay with that. I'll just mumble all my disbelief to myself, and I won't spoil the fun. Consider me an ally. Thanks, Sandy.
Aww.
That's nice.
Sandy Q's great.
Archer Kulikov for $20.
Sandy, if you're gonna super chat again, drop some knowledge that
Yeah.
we can discuss instead of just saying I'm gonna mumble to myself. Like, what were you laughing at? Like, what is so beyond and provably wrong? Right? That's what Graham Handcock and Randall Carlson are constantly asking for. Bring us something else that would make sense. Like Garrett just said, it's like it's about finding the evidence that fits a theory instead of like, this is a theory. Oh, that evidence doesn't work. Get rid of that evidence. Just gonna get rid of that evidence. We're not gonna talk about that evidence. It's like I want to hear the other side of it.
I think to me, it's just believable that we have been anatomically human for a long time, that there could have been like a race of people like the Phoenicians that were prior that were around 20,000 years ago instead of 10,000 years ago.
Great blinds.
They did but they were able to sail the world and map it, and they died and they were just erased through massive like the Earth. We live on a completely different planet now than we did 12,000 years ago. That's hard to fathom. Like that's just something that's just not talked about enough. I don't think that like the sea levels were 400 feet lower. There was a lot of land, and it was like, what did Randall say? He said Georgia was like boreal forest. Georgia. So it was like forest that you find in Canada and up north. I mean, that's just it's
forest.
Yeah, it's
and like the Sahara. That Sahara was like lush.
Yeah.
Beautiful
jungle.
Grass
it was like jungle. And grass.
Yeah. 5,000
and we all start off from zero when we're born, right? I just had a son and I was thinking about that. Like he's learning things, he's crawling around, but he starts off at zero. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't know phones. He doesn't know what TVs are. He's looking at it. He's like, I don't know what this is. And then you slowly pick that up. By the time you grow up and you understand what these things are, you've justified it in your mind. You go, okay, I know what these are because my parents told me what they are. My friends around me told me what this is. But when you're a baby, you're born at zero, right? So imagine you were born in a place that wasn't able to tell you what these past things were. You'd not know what they were or how they were made. So think about that on a massive scale. If we, like Graham always says, it's a amnesia. It's a human amnesia that we could have gotten our entire history wiped away by some cataclysmic event. I think it's possible. I think it is very possible that it could happen.
The Clovis got wiped out. They got wiped out. They were dead after this. So that's one race of people. Why not another? Right. Artur Kulikov. Sorry, Arthur. For $20, it says quarter black. Thank you. I'm here because of Crowder. First time donation on this channel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jerry, been waiting for the stream, but won't stick around. I have to work tomorrow morning and communicating I'm commuting from Central Valley to Monterey. Oh, that's brutal.
Dang, man.
A lot of people do that. Dude, you would not believe how many people live in like Sacramento that will commute to San Francisco, and even worse. It's nuts how people do that, but good luck to the ones that do. Hey, maybe Arthur, Gavin Newsom will finish the bullet train for you. And the bullet train. Remember the bullet train?
It's not happening.
Remember the bullet train? I remember when people were voting for the bullet train. It's so fucking retarded. It's going to be a regular train that goes nowhere, by the way. It was supposed to be a bullet train. And by the way, that's how we're regressing as a nation. If Japan has tons of fucking bullet trains and we can't make one, Where you actually need it.
What's up with they make them?
Between San Francisco and LA, holy shit, they actually need one. So yeah, it's nuts.
The government just spends money to keep government in power. They don't give a shit about Americans anymore.
No.
It's all they do is spend money to keep themselves in power. That's it.
I got a great story. There's an overpass that burned up, and it was a major overpass, an inlet from Oakland to San Francisco. Burned up like right when I moved up. It's the one right next to the sewage treatment plant. For anybody who's up in the Bay Area, you know which one I'm talking about. It smelled like shit. So that burnt down, and they needed to build it quick. So they got all these bidders, and they got a private bidder that was not contracted with the government and says, I will have this shit done in a month. And because all the other plans were like 6 months, a year, and they had that shit done in 3 weeks. They were fucking done. And that was like the one time they went out of like the government sphere to get it, like to show you how fucked up the government is.
Yeah.
You got one private company in, had it done in 3 weeks.
It's like the New York City government spending millions and millions and like 5 years to build a porta potty basically in a park. Like that's all they had to build was like a 2-person porta potty, and they spent like millions of dollars on it. It's like, what the government is.
Yeah, Florida's making the rest of the country look stupid right now.
Yeah.
They're rocking those roads out. Oh, it got destroyed yesterday. Well, we got it back up and running and fixed today. It's like,
boom.
Damn. What? Using government funds to actually fix shit? Wow.
Oh, Beta was bitching about Texas fixing the grid. It's like they're fixing it. Like they're redoing the whole fucking thing. Like I have not seen this much work ever in California that I've seen in Texas. They're digging up every fucking road. And good.
It's kind of always happening in Texas. There's always some, like they're building new overpasses and redoing the roads. Like always keeping these things up to date. Hopefully they're doing the actual grid, because that's the problem. It's the grid itself.
Oh, they're putting it underground. So
hopefully, working on that.
It is where I am. Haha. So
Dallas, get your crap together.
This is awesome. Can't stay up, have to wake up early for work. Whatever. Hopefully this gets uploaded to the podcast channels. Love y'all. Hail to the chat. Barry Smooth for $9.99. Well, it will stay on this channel. It'll stay here, and it will get uploaded on Spotify and iTunes shortly. A sour cream citizen for $5 says, okay, coming from a Christian background, I couldn't help but see the giants as the Nephilim. All this is a fantasy author's wet dream. Conan 1200 BC. I know Conan.
Man,
Conan's a shit.
You could set so many things in the prehistories.
Yeah. Well, what do you think?
It's like Cull.
Did
you ever read Cull? Cull's fucking awesome, dude.
So, like the basis of again, a lot of stuff that they borrow from, that Tolkien borrows from, is from prehistory. The Numenorians were big; they were very big people. Some Sunderland pesos for the stream from Ditsy. Oh, it's a Filipino peso.
Oh, thank you.
Sunderland. To Sunderland. Okay, just one more. I spent 95% of my time in the library and just 5% of the time on the field. Scientific method and peer review must rule. Love you still. Well, yeah, dude. You got to be checked out.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
And that's all they're asking for.
But
for people to look into it and confirm
what the archaeologist said in the last was it the last episode? Crigler, he said, West. Anthony West, the archaeologist who was showing the black mat, and he goes,
"Oh yeah."
He's all being skeptical.
I haven't seen that
good.
Episode yet.
He said, "Being skeptical is good. Being cynical is not." There's cynicism in science. Big difference. So, Sandy, I completely agree with you. Skepticism is what keeps everybody honest. But when you're cynical, then you're just practicing a religion at that point.
Yep.
And you roll your eyes and go, this is impossible. Like some shit, yeah. But like when he was looking at this black mat, which they've found everywhere now.
All around the world.
Yeah, all around the world.
And
statues crumble for me. Sorry.
This is one thing they didn't do in the series that I wish they did more of, because Randall Carlson can make you pee in your pants a little bit, talking about like the sheer destruction of the cataclysm. So here is a little chapter from Murray Springs, where they found a mastodon, and they found a layer of soot over the mastodon that was same as that was in the black layer. That is the boundary. So this black mat layer they found it in Murray Springs, Arizona, in a wash, right? So there's a bunch of ground cut out by water, and you see a big black line. Below the black line, you find mastodon bones. You find
saber-tooth bones,
saber-tooth bones, all the megafauna above it, and Clovis people. By the way, above it, you do not find Clovis people. You don't find any megafauna at all. So that's your boundary. It's the same as the dinosaur, the Cretaceous boundary.
right?
Yep, they're saying this one's worse.
And that boundary was what they assume, or they're carbon dating it to 11,600 years ago.
So they found. Go on.
No, I just wanted to add that
Yep.
when that was.
So this is Eloise. They found
this line here.
Yeah,
this
that's
black line. They find this all across the world.
They found I think it was mastodon. They named it Eloise, and they found that layer of nanodiamonds, all kinds of soot all over her. So what happened was some Clovis people killed one. They cut the leg off. They were taking it back to their cook fire to cook the leg, and they were going to come back and get the rest of it. And something happened. Right? So they have a timestamp. Something happened. They didn't go back to get that. They died. So here's I'm going to read the chapter. But we can't be certain of what was that this moment marked the end of their story and the end of the epoch. Really, there's no single Clovis point found anywhere in North America that's above the black mat. They're all in it or below it. And there's not a single mammoth skeleton anywhere in North America that's above it. A huge part of the die-off could have been as a direct result of the impacts themselves, but impacts and airbursts south of the ice cap, particularly as far south as New Mexico, would have set off wildfires. There's overwhelming evidence that gigantic wildfires raged at the onset of the Younger Dryas. In fact, more soot has been found at the Younger Dryas boundary than at the Cretaceous the dinosaur one boundary. I can't say the other. Pelagian. What did the calculations? It looks like as much as 25% of the edible biomass and around 9% of the total biomass of the planet was on fire. Ooh. And destroyed within days or weeks of the Younger Dryas boundary. So in many ways, in many areas, if the animals weren't killed outright, they wouldn't be able to forage enough food afterwards to survive. The grass would have burned up, the leaves and the trees were gone. And the other thing is that when a comet fragment comes in, they're traveling incredibly fast, and they literally punch a hole in the atmosphere. They actually push the air aside, and they bring in that super cold air from space. And when they explode in the air, that cold plume continues to the ground, and you literally have things frozen in place if they were close enough to where the plume came down. It's possible they were fried and then frozen all within a matter of seconds.
Damn. God. What a way to go, huh?
It's like
yep.
Wow.
Yeah, I read that one. I had to read it over. I'm like, oh shit. And they're talking about a mammoth. It was a mammoth that was in Arizona. That this happened. That's what they assume. They don't want to
site. This is that site. And that's what that line looks like. At that site.
Damn, that's crazy to think about.
So no mammoths above this.
Or Clovis
people
people
below.
And that was the archaeologist. That wasn't Graham Handcock. That was the archaeologist, the scientist saying that.
Yeah, I like that he had the experts on, and he was like, you could tell that he was like, oh, that's what I wanted you to say, but I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to ask a question and let you elaborate. Uh-huh. And they did. And it was almost like Graham was like, yes, it's actually proving my point. This is amazing. Yeah. But they're saying it. I'm not even like saying it. It was good for him, man. Good for you, Graham.
Yeah. Being vindicated over like decades of saying this, going like, I think there's something into this, and then finally.
Mm-hmm.
When like Göbekli Tepe's been known about for a long time. like since 97. Back in the 60s, they found it, but they thought it was just some medieval shit. And then they finally dug it up. Remember, there's other sites. There's a lot of other sites that they probably will never dig up. They're all over the place. And each site has multiple sites. Each site has multiple sites.
Just Göbekli Tepe. Like, can we just go underneath that?
Yeah.
Or the place in Indonesia, the Gadang or whatever.
Padang. Yeah. Gundam Padang.
Yeah. Well, I want to know what's in those chambers as well.
Have you guys seen the Chinese tunnel system? Okay, so some farmer dives in his little pond and finds this fucking massive cave system. And they flood it out, and it's fucking huge. Now, you can date it to a certain area because there are some carvings that connect it to some dynasty. Cool. But that doesn't mean that they dug it out. It is fucking huge. I'll find you a picture. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And like, how many of these do we not know about? Just think of the ones we don't know about.
Yeah.
Well, and think about the ones that existed, take all that water away. You know, when the water level was 400 feet lower, you know, what kind of systems existed there? Like, there's all these tunnels in Mexico, you know, in southeast Mexico, where there's cave systems that go on for a long time. I don't remember the name of the tunnel system there, but they're incredibly intricate and deep, probably just like the ones in Turkey.
Wow.
Look at these grooves. Yeah.
Wait, that wasn't after he found this cave system, then made to look like he found it like that?
Well, this is in China?
Yeah, but that's how it was made. This is it. The long groove.
They didn't do this. It looked like this.
This guy went down there and was like, "Oh, this is what I found."
Yes.
Holy shit. And this was underwater?
It's underwater.
What the fuck?
It was filled in with water. Yeah. Fucking nuts, right?
That's insane.
Longyu. Oh my god.
Wow.
I can't rest. But you know what I'm talking. Just look.
That is like mega structures.
I wanna see how they did the ant turkey thing in and I want to see that. I want to see how big the structure is, because that's just one room.
That's just one room. It's fucking huge.
We don't know how intricate that place is. Oh man, that's cool.
Another angle.
You know about the that temple outside of Japan that's underwater?
Yeah, they think it's natural. Graham doesn't think it's natural. It's pretty trippy looking.
There's no way
there's also like in China
and
in Japan, like two of the biggest cut megalithic blocks. Anyway, they keep on saying Baalbek, but then there's another one that's like even bigger. That's in a quarry. I forgot the name of it, but yeah, there's like, dude, tip of the iceberg on the show. Tip of the iceberg. There's so much shit that like they can do multiple and like, why not? Netflix wants to find a way to compete. Zaslav at Warner Brothers has already got it. Fucking reality-based TV. It's cheap to make, makes tons of content. It does really well, and Netflix should be making tons of that shit. Fuck scripted. Do more like Graham Handcock stuff. I'm all
documentaries and stuff. Yeah.
Somebody mentioned Missing 411. Do a whole fucking Missing 411 special on Netflix. Digital remnant for $2.
Yeah.
Yes, I am very aware of David Paulides. Fucking, if anything, it's creepy. It's like
it's very weird.
Creepy pasta, but for adults. It's adult creepy pasta.
I love it.
It's great.
I think I've heard like every single one at this point, probably multiple times.
But he's got a couple of docs on Amazon Prime.
A lot of great YouTubers make videos on
them. My daughter-in-law is having a grandbaby. All hail. Well, congratulations.
$20,
Bubba Doom #1. First of her all hail, first of her name, keeper of the sacred chalice of Rix, first helper of Papa, kneel feeble mortals before the princess, baby Doom. I can't wait to read her The Hobbit. Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I don't get to read my kids. It's been years.
Wendigoon.
Enjoy them when they're small because they get bigger.
Very fast.
That's what I'm waiting for Harry Potter. I'm gonna have some kids, and then I'm gonna read it to them and experience it with them.
Yeah,
that's what I did. It was great. That's why I'm a huge fan of it.
There we go.
Since I got back from Harry Potter World, my son I watched the movie again, and he was like, he's gotten to the part where he can read a full like a book all by himself, doesn't have to like sit there and read it with them. Nice. So he went and started listening to it, and then he's reading the book too. And I'm like, I'm reading the book. So it's a Harry Potter house right now. That's why I brought it up.
I'm like, I'm gonna read this dumb Harry Potter book. I thought it would be stupid as fuck, but like, I'm like, I'll read it with the kids. And I'm like, I got way more into it than they
did.
I binged the whole first season on Plex. It was good. But we
stop it. Love hearing that you're happy. Gary Buechler.
Cute.
My phone is stalking me.
That wasn't weird. That wasn't weird at all.
Speaking of her. The movie Her.
Is that your AI side chick?
That's Bing or whatever the fuck is on my phone. It just clicked on.
That was weird.
Yeah. I'm throwing my fucking phone into a lake. It's trying to kill me. It's stalking me. I like to watch you sleep.
I'm glad you're happy, Gary.
I'm glad you're happy. I'm not.
I wish you spent more time with me, Gary.
That was fucking weird. I binged the whole first season on Plex. It was good, but we rarely heard the other side of the argument. He said the Bimini Road was seriously investigated a few times, but didn't mention what the findings were. He said there was very little serious investigation.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Very little. That's what I and
they just concluded that it was not man-made.
That's
it. It's like, what else do you need to say to like know what the conclusion was? Like, hey, it's not man-made. All right, move on. Next adventure, whatever.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with that. I would have liked to have heard more of the conventional explanations for some of these things. Because whenever I watched the JRE, and that was every time that Graham was saying something or Randall was saying something, and I was like, but what is like the general knowledge of what they explain this is? And then Joe Rogan would ask that question, and then it would get Graham talking about, oh, well, this is what they think it is. And like that's what I find interesting is like, how do they explain it? These things that are unexplainable, how do they explain it? And then to hear the ones where they go, there's no explanation. Well, you go, all right, well, come on.
Well,
what is this then?
The one thing Joe Rogan took Graham to task on that sounded skeptical, but you got to side with Graham on this one because he's the one who actually scuba dived down to it, was the megalith that's in the middle of the Mediterranean. And Joe was like, this just looks like a rock, but he's all, no, there's a whole like cut in it for one, and it was standing and it was a monolith.
Right.
And I dived down to it and looked at it, like he did with the Bimini Road.
Right.
And he wasn't convincing Joe, but like it totally makes sense. They 400 feet.
400 feet of water.
Feet. And the Mediterranean, would there be a lot of land in the Mediterranean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like, but I think that's what Joe does very well. Like he even did it in the last podcast. Like he's done multiple podcasts. He knows these guys, but he's still like hitting them like, where did you hear that? Where's that come from?
Right.
That I think that's really good. And they all had answers, especially Randall. Holy shit.
Yeah. Joe's great at that
interviewer. Whenever he did that episode with Alex Jones, I think it was the last one that he did with Alex, where he was asking those questions, and so many people were going, why are you asking these questions? What are you just doubting him? Why are you doubting him? But what he was doing is he's asking him to go, well, let's go check that out. Jamie, pull that up. He pulls it up, proves it. And then Alex Jones will say something else that sounds crazy. And then he goes, wait, hold up. Jamie, pull that up. Pulls it up. It's real. And you go, see, that's why he's so good at it, is because he can ask questions like that and then get the person that he's interviewing to explain it further. Whenever they're sometimes, like, I'm sure Randall and Graham can get so far in the weeds, like they know all of these
Randall can. Yeah.
They know all these side things, and they're like, I don't need to explain it because I know some of these things. But then he could ask a layman question, and then they go down a path that they wouldn't normally go down because he asked them that question.
See, Randall Randall needs to have, like we talked about earlier, have graphics made. He has to have graphics made of Atlantis sinking based on his theory and the flood in Washington. I need to see that visualized a little more because I'd just love to see it. Wouldn't want to live in it though. Yes, 13,500 years ago, and Melancholy Hellhound. Yes.
Yeah. That's the name of one of my songs.
Oh, there you go. I was watching a little bit of Hellbound on Netflix before this show.
Is it good? I saw Nina was breaking it down on her show.
I don't know yet. I didn't watch enough of it. I got to watch more of it.
I don't even know. I don't even know what it is.
A bunch of demons taking people back to killing people. Like a bunch of
But it's Korean?
But it's Korean. It's pretty cool.
Oh, it's probably good.
Okay. I like Korean stuff. They do good work.
Sleep is the cousin of death for $1.99. Wow. Good night. Sleep tight, everybody. Right. Pretend to care about facts until religion.
Who are they talking about?
Yeah, I don't know. Like that might be reference to something else.
Maybe.
Right.
MMM Martin 261 for $4.99. I think we are not taking into consideration the expanding Earth theory, which could lead to me believe the Earth had less gravity and larger beasts. That is from Neil Adams. Was really into that. Was really into the expanding Earth theory. It's
Neil Adams.
May he rest in peace.
Well, if the mass was more condensed, wouldn't gravity have been stronger?
Yeah, I think
if we were closer to the core, wouldn't it have been?
I think the larger beasts were oxygen. It had a lot to do with oxygen and carbon monoxide. That's
the amount of oxygen on the planet was a lot more.
Yep.
Okay.
Possible. Or
that makes sense.
Or they weren't. There were no predators, and they were just allowed to get fucking big.
Yeah.
But that's over years and years, and then they just disappear. What?
There's always predators, though.
But you're right. There's saber-toothed cats, man. they were predators.
Massive bears, like on the land bridge.
The short-faced bear was fucking big.
Yeah.
Don't get confused by
the truck.
Wade Makunda for $2 says ancient underground cities, man survived extinction. Yep. That's the way I see it. That's the way Graham sees it too. Sir Marhouse for $9.99. Thank you. This is one of two. What I find frustrating about him is that he takes what is said from prominent archaeologists while not saying that he is working with archaeologists on the show. Blames archaeology. The issue is, as someone in the field, is that archaeology is a capital venture. It's not a secure investment for universities to look for Atlantis. Yeah, well, see, but he also is free to look at that stuff, and I think that if colleges were what he was saying is they are fucking dogmatic, and they just shut him down everywhere he goes. And the guy's been putting up with it for 20 years, 30 years. So you can't blame him for being bitter. But yeah, he is still working with archaeologists. He is working with geologists and archaeologists. But for the most part, academia shits on him all the time.
So what the super chat was saying is like it's not cost effective to care about these, to investigate these, because they assume that they've already figured it out. They're like, we figured that out. We're not going to spend money on that because it's not really going to make us any money. So let's go investigate all these other things that are going to make us some kind of notoriety or money.
Theory that's not going to come. That's what you call if you want to look at it dollars and cents, that's a corporation that has reached maturity and is not willing to take any more chances because they're making enough money.
Again, that sounds cynical. It's to say we won't find anything there, so why even try? If you do find something there, that could be the biggest find.
They weren't
in
find anything in the Amazon until they brought some LiDAR to the Amazon, and they found,
and then they went, oh, look at
all kinds of shit. So
it's like civilization all over the place.
Yeah.
I watched a video. I watched a video from the Survivor Man. If you ever watched him, he did a video where he went to Brazil and he went in their jungles and he was exploring like private property cave systems. And they said that there's so many cave systems there filled with artifacts from thousands of years ago that they don't even care about it. They're just like, oh yeah, that's a pot. That's a pot there. There's a shrine there. There's a mummy that used to be buried there, but they took it away. But they left all the pots there. Like there's just so much there, and it's so dense. It's like detritus at this point. Whenever
like just grass.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's normal.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's a
but also
20,000-year-old mummy site.
People never crossed the ocean, but somehow they
Les
did.
Stroud.
Because there's Polynesian DNA with a certain amount of people at the heart of the Amazon. Like there's too many weird things to not investigate. And no, you can't pay for everything. But
we need an Elon, but for archaeology. Somebody that has like a shit ton of money that is just like trying to do cool things. That's what we need.
Well, Elon does stuff to make money though. Also,
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So, maybe you need to privatize it a little more.
Yeah. Spending millions of dollars to like dig up what's underneath Göbekli Tepe is only going to shine a light on what's under there. It's not monetarily. Turkey, the government of Turkey is probably gonna be like, yeah, that's all ours, by the way. We're not gonna.
That's probably why they've allowed it to be dug up even more, is they've probably gotten some money out of it.
I hope so. Let's do it.
Yeah. And that should be your incentive right there. You dig up something cool, people will pay to come and visit it. There's your money.
I want to go see it.
Yeah,
like I would.
Maybe we should. Maybe we will.
Maybe if I am all for getting rid of every studies class to fund our archaeological adventures to find it.
Yes. I've made documentaries before. We could do this.
Yes.
Let's make a documentary.
Let's go. Let's do it.
And Martin 261 Tesla towers would have made. Oh, I read that one. Instead of saying conspiracy theory, they should say incentive theory. Most modern conspiracy theories are just people pointing out perverse incentives. Incentive theories. Johan. I read that one. Hilarious. Just finished an episode and came to YouTube to see if you boys had recorded a vid. What if Atlantis was literally the Americas? Eli Elvis for $4.99. Well,
and it was lost.
Maybe, but in Timaeus and Critias, Plato talks about the continent that is beyond the island of Atlantis, which could have been America.
Which would have been us.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was Antarctica. Like if you think about it, I'm just throwing this out there because like if the water level was so much lower and the ice sheet was on the north side of the planet,
Antarctica was like, they even showed it in the show, there was so much fucking ice on Antarctica. It was connected. It was covering half of South America, or at least the bottom part of South America.
Right, but it was connected to South America, right?
Yep. And the Piri Reese. I want to say Pee-wee, but it's Piri Reese.
The Pee-wee Reese.
Robert McDonald. Look forward to you too. Oh, I read that one. Daneska for €10. Believe it or not, they had. Oh, I read that one too. We are Leonids. Leonids, says John Snowden for $1.99.
I want to know what's under Greenland, because have you looked at the landscape of Greenland, like what it looks like? It's very, very wavy grasslands. There's no trees. There's nothing. It's just, it almost looks like you just took a big lump of dirt and just threw it over all of the land. It looks as if there was a big splash right next to it, which would have happened if all of that ice and whatever the flood went out from North America and just like pushed all the dirt over Greenland. And it looks like
could you imagine the tsunami that would have created in the already there oceans? It would have just
one thing Randall was looking at in the Sahara, right around where the Ricard structure, and the eye of the Sahara. He was noticing that a large body of water went over that, and that's probably what brought all the sand. And there's giant current ripples fucking everywhere.
Right.
Everywhere. And it looks, just look at it. It looks like something washed over the land.
Definitely does.
Yeah. So yeah, it's crazy. And there's difference between and he even showed the difference between the wind-blown sand dunes and current ripples, which
right,
were
huge, very different.
very different. Jonathan Bryant for $13.99. Another YouTube personality, Wise Up Theories, that a lot of underground structures were once above ground before the Great Flood, and also very similar to the building tech of today. The advent of Google, Earth, Google Maps has allowed a lot of normal people to not that you weren't normal before, and not that archaeologists are special. They just went to school. They got their
They thought they were
That's
special.
cool. That's good. I got no problem with that. But
Everyone's got blue check marks now.
But everybody's got Google Earth, and there are people who obsess over that. There's entire fucking Twitter accounts, YouTube accounts that one of the guys, I'm forgetting his name. He just died. He was like, I was watching the guy all the time, and I'm like, God, I haven't seen a video from him. And yeah, he passed away. It's Chuck at CF Apps. Was a great channel. He passed away, but yeah, all he did was go over Google Earth. That was his thing. He would pick a section and just go over everything and look for ancient structures. And yeah, it's crazy how much we're finding right now. How just regular people are finding it's a lot of comets are discovered by amateur astronomers and not the official guys. So I think the more eyes, the better. The more theories, the better. They don't have to be right. You just got to be open to them.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty ridiculous to think that civilization just came out of fucking nowhere. There has to be more to the story. Is
Very
it
mysterious?
Yeah, that's the overarching question that this whole series presents. It's like, who and how did Göbekli Tepe get built? Like, it didn't just appear out of nowhere. They didn't just instantly know how to build this shit. Like, someone either taught them how to do it, or they had to like practice and learn how to do what they did. They didn't just build this mega structure from going from hunter gathering to just suddenly be like, you know what? I'm going to build this massive temple that's going to teach agriculture to all of humanity after this ice age. This mini ice age that just hit after this massive flood. Like, we're going to do that. It's like, no,
it doesn't make sense. That's why you have these mysteries. Then you go and investigate them. We've tried to figure out, like, go excavate one of these sites. Like we're saying, we know that there's a void.
Mm-hmm.
Go figure out what's in there. And maybe there's some answers. Maybe there's more petroglyphs or information down there, or maybe there's writings, or who knows what. We have to go look.
I think Indonesia is definitely on board.
They gotta go look at that,
with finding out what's underneath that in the first episode. With those black structures, the black stones. That's very cool.
At first they weren't, but it seems like they're allowing them to do it now. Because at the time Graham was writing, it wasn't America before. It was Magicians of the Gods. Danny Hillman had been held up by the government, but apparently that's all worked out, which is good.
Good. So who knows? Maybe we'll find out in the next 5 to 10 years. They'll go down into one of these and find some new information that'll flip everybody's thought process on this.
There's a quote that I couldn't let go
of. Or maybe
of.
not. Who knows?
When I know I'm kind of jumping ahead to like the 5th or 6th episode, but it's in the snake. There's the in Western America. It's in America somewhere.
It's in Ohio.
Ohio.
Yeah, Ohio. Yeah.
Mount.
Serpent Mount or something. Yeah. And the people that are running the area won't let Graham in anymore.
Yep.
And they said they had an email, and he reads it out, and he says, Graham doesn't believe the narrative. I'm paraphrasing. He doesn't believe the narrative, so we're not going to allow him in here anymore. And I was just like, that's crazy. That they
wouldn't let Netflix.
They're admitting it now.
Fucking Netflix come in,
right?
And film a special with Graham Handcock because he's not going with the
official narrative. There it is.
Official narrative, and that is
crazy, man.
Sus.
Hell yeah! It's like now. Well, now I don't trust you more. Now I want to. Now I'm going to believe what he said even more so. And I love that. Even this structure in Ohio also points to Sirius. It also points to the solstice. It's all of these structures all around the planet.
The face.
Or no, I don't think this one points to Sirius. This one, the face points to where the sun lands,
where the sun set at a certain point, 12,000 years ago.
Right. Yeah,
like
that's the crazy part. I forgot about that. Right, because it's actually off now. It's like 2 degrees off.
Documentary I watched all of them, right, from all perspectives. So this one was from more the Christian perspective, and like I say that as I'm not like a practicing Christian or anything, but I was watching some L.A. Marzulli, and what he pointed out was the tribe that is given credit, the indigenous tribe that is given credit to building this, they themselves say, "Oh no, we didn't build it," but since they're entrusting it to us,
wow,
I understand.
We'll be the custodians.
We'll be the custodians to make sure it's preserved. Which is like, I respect the hell out of that. That's fine. But there's a giant like they get into mounds a little bit, but holy shit! Like what little I knew about these, and over the last 10 years, I've done a lot of work. Just it's a hobby. Okay, I read all the fucking books. It's what I do when I'm not reading comic books and watching movies. And these things were impossible. Like, so you built this with fucking buckets that you made, like that were this big. With how many people? There's one site.
You can do that in a weekend, Gary. Come on.
Huge. There's so much dirt. It would be 200 miles of giant, like a double tractor trailer filled with dirt. 200 miles of them to put in the dirt of all this. It's like a giant wall. It's like an octagon. It's fucking huge. And
there's another image too that this isn't even shit, because this is what it looks like now. He actually has a mock-up of what it would have looked like 1,000, like when all these trees were gone, and those coils are actually like big piles of rock all the way up to where the mound is now. There's a lot
like below.
It goes. There's so much more here that you're not seeing, because the land around it has actually kind of grown up around where that snake is, when before there used to be no trees. Do you remember, what I'm talking about, Gary? There was like a mock-up that shows like what this would have looked like before. Like,
yeah, they did. They showed me. I can pull it up real quick.
Let's see if you can find that, because it's pretty cool.
Trying to find. I can't remember the name of this fucking place, because it
that
wasn't
must be in episode 6, right?
Yeah,
I didn't see that. I saw he did talk about this briefly in episode 5 at the end, saying that's where he's going.
It's not Poverty Point what I'm talking about. It was, I can't remember the name of the place, but it was a giant like wall, basically like a henge, a wall. It's fucking so fucking big, and I'm like, I didn't even know this place existed. It's crazy. But let's see if I can pull this up. Like, there's mountains in Texas. Oh, stop. I hate how they do that. Where's Serpent America's Lost Civilization? There it is. I got it. I just saw it and I just lost it. There's Graham out in the front gate. There it is. I got it.
Good job, Gary.
I tried.
Proud of you.
You got it.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks, buddy.
Now let's see it.
I'm getting there.
Anytime.
There it is.
Yeah, there we go.
That's what it would have looked like. It looks a little more fleshy. But yeah, it's big. And it would have faced at a certain point, which is right around the Younger Dryas. It would have faced due right at the summer solstice.
Right.
The sun would have come down right here.
And the first coil points to where the sun rises at the summer solstice.
Yep.
And then the last coil points to where it would have risen at the winter solstice.
Wow.
And then and then the look, you can see it actually. There's north there. There's the compass. The tail actually points true north, straight north.
Yep. So
I was really kind of bummed, because it feels like the way that they set this up, if you look like where the tail is pointing where it would be west, that's where the sun would be setting in the winter solstice. I was curious, and he didn't say that, and I was like, huh.
You know what
I
else?
just assumed by where they were going.
This ridge right here is
Mhm.
an ancient impact.
Really?
Yeah. Ancient impact, meteor impact.
Where'd you hear that? They didn't talk.
Randall.
Did they say that?
Randall Carlson.
Oh, Randall's talking about it.
Randall
Okay.
was talking about it. Yeah,
Wow,
they didn't mention
cool.
the show, but yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, they keep finding them. They're all over the place.
Dude, the more they keep digging into this shit, the
It's
more
like we got impacted a ton over who knows how long. Going through that belt over and over every year.
Did you hear that one of the Mars probes that's about to go out because it's covered in too much dust recorded an impact on Mars?
Really?
They recorded it. Yeah, it was like it was a decent sized meteor. I think it made a 500-foot.
That's pretty good. That's pretty big size.
It recorded the sound of the.
Yeah, wow,
that was fucking gnarly.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, the Donut King. The CIA uses Slayer and other death metal really, really loud for special rendition for $5. Well, you wouldn't get any information out of me. I'd be just all
I'd be like.
Now, if you played Bon Jovi, I'd sing like a little bitch. Gary, are you not a fan of the late James Randi? I'm not aware. He outed charlatans just like Houdini. Hail FNT and crew.
Oh yeah.
No, James,
didn't he pass away?
The amazing Randy? Is that who we're talking about?
I think that's what he's talking about, where he went on live TV and would like explain.
Yeah, he really hated woo-woo people. He really did. Yeah, I wasn't. You know what? I like skeptics to me are like annoying atheists. It's just like
there's a lot of crossover.
I don't like pizza. I don't like pizza. I'm not going to tell you, or I don't like seafood. I'm not going to bitch every day about like fucking seafood. I can't believe you eat seafood. Fucking seafood. Like if it's fine. If you don't believe in God, that's cool.
Yeah, just don't be a dick about it.
Don't be like, like let people believe in God. Like
chill out, bro.
Yeah, chill the fuck out. Okay, it's not hurting anybody. Well, for the most part. Memphis, Tennessee did that quarter black, Garrett. It's now a 4-story Bass Pro Shop and hotel. I stayed there once. Apparently, it was a basketball court before that, says the Grizzly, for $10.
It was built under. Okay, it was a basketball.
Well, there's a giant mountain.
Have you seen that? Have you seen that Bass Pro Shop in Memphis? It's a giant pyramid. It's a massive pyramid. It's kind of like what's the
Luxor?
Yeah, Luxor. It's kind of like the Luxor. It's right on the waterfront too. It's cool.
Luxor is bizarre because when you're on some of the higher floors, you look down and you're just looking straight down because it goes this way.
Yeah.
But the sound travels weird in there. I like it. They're going to tear it down soon. It makes me sad.
Oh, what? Really?
Yeah.
The Luxor? Really?
Yeah, they're going to get rid of the Luxor. Well, it's wasn't built very well.
No, I went to the Luxor because Ryan stayed there, and he stayed in a room that was behind all. Like when you go in the Luxor, there's all this cool looking like facade here, but then behind it, it's just ugly rooftops. And if you stay in one of those floors on like the second or third floor, you're just looking at trash on top of these rooftops with people
like
throwing
your flamingo, like your flamingo room.
yeah, just like that.
That was nice.
It's just ugly.
Where's the trash? I read that one. And I read that one. Oh, Gary, watch Lloyd Pye. Everything you know is wrong. I have, Andrew. I have read good old the late Lloyd Pye. Oh, dude, I used to go to UFO cons, like little ones, to get VHS of people like Lloyd Pye and pay like $20 because this was before there was a lot of video on the internet. There was an internet, but it was just UFO pictures that like loaded like about 10 times slower than your average porn picture. And yeah. I've I know. And you know, you just like when you're gonna look up like I don't know, you want to see this actress naked, you just walked away for 20 minutes, came back.
See, I was a little kid and I was looking up innocent me, X-Men. I was like, I like X-Men. Let's type that in. Xmen.com. And then it was like bzz, bzz. I was like, who is this chick? Who is this? Bzz, bzz, tits. And I'm like, what's this, mommy? What is this? This isn't Wolverine.
No. And then it became Wolverine when you grew up.
Oh no.
Ex-women,
Oh god.
Do you guys know about the oh my god, I can't even say this word. Gigantopithecus. 9 to 12 foot tall primates. Yes, Gigantopithecus, which is which a lot of people think Bigfoot is. Robert McDonald for $5.
Never heard of it.
Giants invented the stool for mating purposes. Okay. Taker 610 for $2. Oh, I love the regular chat. My regular chat. Java Bean, what's up, buddy? For 10 Australian dollars. The review has cheered me up. Have been black-pilled lately. Listening made me remember there are more to life than we know. Hope to chat soon, brother. By the way, have been thinking of starting a channel. Start a channel. Oh my god.
Do it.
Dude.
Do it.
Do it.
My phone.
Do it now.
Keep getting the voice thing. I hate that. Yeah, no, Java Bean, you're cool beans. Don't be black-pilled. Black-pilled. They want us black-pilled. They
Correct.
want us to give up.
Black pill is a psyop.
Discouraged. Black pill is a psyop. It's also a suppository. Told me. I agree with Razor Fist. So yeah, it's all good, Java Bean. We love you. Most churches, European cathedrals, are also built on top of ancient places and power ley lines, etc. Says Rogue Status for $10. Absolutely agree with you. And sacred sites go way, like multiple sacred sites are built on multiple sacred sites. So like churches are the latest. It is like whipping your dick out and pissing on previous religions, but it's also there is something to the power of a site. I believe in that stuff. I do.
It's like Jerusalem. Building mosques and then a temple and a mosque and a temple and a mosque.
You know,
and a temple.
like I've never been there, but I look at Jerusalem and I'm like, what's the big deal? It looks like Salt Lake City. It looks like just a city, you know, like it looks like a place. But man,
but it's got that praying wall. I want to go see that praying wall.
Well, no, cool. Like inside, well, that's where the King Solomon's temple was, right? It's right around there. And there's that giant megalithic stone near the praying wall, or maybe part of the praying wall that they found, and they just didn't even know it was there till like relatively like recently. Like
it's also that stone, in Islamic faith they do that pilgrimage to go through it and they walk around it and pray. What is that called?
And there's like a little tiny window that you can touch, right?
Yeah,
you can only touch it through the little.
Some people are probably freaking out.
The Wailing Wall's out there.
Maybe I need to go there and feel like the energy of the place.
I wish I could go there, Mecca, but I'd be killed. So I won't. I'll just look at it through computer screens because it looks cool.
Oh yeah, I was thinking straight how that came off. Haha, just woke up. By the way, keep up the great work. And SGD is Singapore dollars. Oh, cheer up, guys. Cheers, guys. Oscar Loon, Singapore dollars. All right. Thank you. Hail Singapore. That's awesome.
It's a meteorite? What? In Mecca?
Is it?
That's what everybody's saying in the chat.
Is it?
A meteorite? That's
awesome. I've never heard that before, but that's cool to think about.
That'd be kind of cool. Maticus Finch for 1820 has asked if we can do this monthly, please. Okay.
Sure.
Maybe more. We'll be doing a part 2 next week.
Ooh.
Part 2 next week. Skyrim 96 for $20. If you want more mystery stuff, I suggested look at Josh Gates. The things he's investigated are insane. He's also helps discover pieces to some of the mysteries. Watch his shows, Destination Truth and Expedition Unknown. Oh, that's a good name. We're trying to think of a name. We're still. I haven't
brainstorming on a name for this.
I haven't settled on one. Expedition Unknown's a good name. That's a good name.
That is a good name.
If this show is going to be a regular thing, please talk to Peter Robbins and Christopher O'Brien again. Guillermo Diego first $5. Okay. Did you see NASA's space plane that came back yesterday after its 3-year orbit around Earth, and all the scientists that were in the biohazard suits? What? No. Why were they in the biohazard suits, Robert McDonald? And why was a plane orbiting it must have been like a drone, right? So I knew nothing about that. Armored Skeptic has some interesting videos on this stuff. It kind of goes off the rails towards the end of the series, but still interesting.
I've seen this.
Christopher, and thank you, Acrylithophobia. It's too late for me to read long ass names. Hey guys, this is an amazing topic. I am so glad you're doing this live stream. Great change of pace.
Yeah.
Agreed. People need a shift.
Guys, with all those satellites going around, penetrating radars, etc., do you really believe they don't already know everything that is buried under the seas? I don't. Well, some people sure. There are departments of the government that know a lot, but it is surrounded by massive incompetence that really helps keep secrets. People always say, how would the government keep secrets? They're so incompetent. They use the incompetence. The smart people use the dumb people. That's the way
weaponized incompetence.
Yes.
Fetterman, hello. Biden, come on.
Please.
Hello.
Come on.
Kamala, I mean, hello.
Yeah.
Oh, Gary, did you see? Oh, man, I wish I saw this before I finished the video, but there's a Kamala Harris where she goes, Wakanda forever, endorsed by Kamala Harris. No, I wish I saw that. I would have put it in the video.
We're going to be doing another video.
All right.
That's old. That's from the first Wakanda.
Yeah, I didn't know that existed.
Doesn't matter. Dude, you found you and Perry found all the good video you needed to find. When you had the Namor actor saying, I needed to learn how to swim was one of my favorites. And then the girl who had systematic racism purse. the systematic racism.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm like, I've got to put that in.
Yeah, there were little bits I couldn't find a good spot for.
And then
I'm glad
we were going back and forth on whether we should do the Brie Larson as a Dora Milaje.
I thought about it for a second. I was like,
At first, my first was no. And this is exactly why we have to do it. And for the sake of all things comedy, we have to do it.
We have to do it.
Oh, I can't wait till tomorrow.
I didn't rewatch the video. Did you leave in the joke that we were contemplating on cutting out or not?
Well, I left.
Okay, good.
I left it to you. Oh shit.
Well, I can't wait.
Yeah, you got to watch the video to hear my joke.
Yeah, you got to hear
that. Might cancel me.
It's good.
Whatever. Yeah. Where did all the men from Wakanda go? Okay. I might have an answer. I'm just saying. Okay.
Yeah.
You might not like it, but I have an answer. Chamo Yahoo for $2. If there was a flood, wouldn't the bunker flood? Well,
no, it was after the flood.
After the flood, they were staving off the elements, the cold weather, the massive storms. That's the part that they really left out. They needed to let Randall go for 10 minutes on one of his. There were massive fires. Most of the biomass was destroyed.
Cuts a B-roll of shit like getting fucking burned and destroyed.
Well, they say it that the flood happened and then the earth froze for another 1,000 years. So it's like it was that 1,000 years. That's when they went underground. That's when they need to have a place that they can survive in.
It was a flood orders of magnitude bigger than we've ever seen anything on this planet before. Fucking Randall scare the shit out of you.
That's a pretty good impression of Randall.
That's good.
I've listened to a lot of Randall. They do like songs with him now. They've thrown together. They actually put it in the HowTube thing. It's pretty funny. HowTube, by the way, search HowTube. Randall Carlson, Atlantis. It's 2 parts. It's worth if you're into this stuff, absolutely worth it. Just for reference, the Sahara Desert is the size of the United States of America. It is. So we have a desert the size of the United States of America that was lush, had giant lakes, like people, like, and it was 5,000 years ago. It was 5,000 years. So what happened? Desertification in 5,000 years? Okay, maybe, but maybe something helped it. Elon Musk, hey everybody, look at what just pulled out from under the Sphinx. That's says Andrew Loda. I wish we can't look to Daddy Elon to solve all of our problems. What we need is another couple of billionaires that are like Elon. And maybe like Elon is now like the billionaire of the people. So yeah, we like Jeff Bezos could be like that, but instead he reinforces the system. It's very sad and makes a really, really shitty Lord of the Rings adaptation.
Really shitty.
And Wheel of Time.
Yeah. And Wheel of Time, yes.
All right. I'm gonna check a couple more, then we're gonna go fucking Wheel of Time, man. That the show just looks bad. Toxic Man Flu for $50. What's up, Toxic? How's Mrs. Flu doing? Hope she's doing well. She has to put up with you. If you dig deep enough, you will eventually go to hell. Well, that's for sure. I've dug pretty deep, buddy. You will know when you get there because the only music is Springsteen and Bon Jovi. You're right. There is a great series. That was a great series. Thanks for the stream. I sure miss Art Bell, but I will take Gary, Adam, and QBG. Oh, that's nice.
Thanks, bro.
Thanks, bro. I miss Art. I can't believe he's been gone 4 years.
How long? Yeah.
4 years. He died the same year as Stan. Stan died 4 years ago, day before yesterday now, because it's past midnight.
That's cool. You have that picture of him.
Yeah, me and him were hanging out on a yacht in San Diego. Yeah.
That's pretty boss, dude. That's cool.
Heck,
awesome.
That's awesome.
That was a crazy day. Hung out with the drummer of System of a Down, and we had lunch. Me, John, and Stan had lunch. It's fucking awesome.
What kind of? That's insane.
That's awesome.
It's fun.
Fuck you.
If Sasquatch is an dimensional being, well, we actually have a contact with him. We got to talk to him.
Wait, I'd like to talk to him.
Yeah, he would be. He likes our stuff. So, dimensional being Sasquatch versus Mothman. Who wins? Ooh, Sasquatch. Yeah, Sasquatch. I would give because if they're both interdimensional beings, and then they can like flip out interdimensionally. So Mothman, is it a cage match? I mean, are they just fighting on the in the plane of existence or something? Because like Mothman can fly.
Wait, but there's more Sasquatch than just one Sasquatch. It's like a whole community of Sasquatch people. So
and there's only one Mothman.
There's only one Mothman.
You know what? I'm going for the Mothman as the underdog.
You're gonna go with the Mothman?
Fuck it. I feel like the Sasquatch is not interdimensional. I feel like that's like we mentioned it earlier. What if he's just one of those like tall humans that everyone's like, whoa, it's a big human, but in reality, it's just like a human being. Whereas Mothman, interdimensional.
I don't know, man.
I go back and forth on the Sasquatch. I go, nah. But then, God, there's so much freaking witnesses of that. It's like, how could they? And there's a couple.
Les Stroud, he does a whole documentary series on Sasquatch.
And I lived in Northern California for a long time. Like the best one, the best video. It's like it's not. You can't see them, but there is a there's a motorhome that's broken down. And they broke down in the middle of like the thick of the Northern California woods. And I was going to drive there one time and spend the night. I didn't do it. But they broke down and then they heard all these crazy sounds and they weren't like,
we're booking it. That's part of our show now.
Or they weren't wolves or dogs or bears. It sounded like a bunch of fucking Sasquatches. It was crazy. It was damn
I've
good.
definitely heard one of those whoops, like the Sasquatch whoop, whoop.
Yep.
I've heard one of those in the middle of Arkansas in the Buffalo Lake area. We were doing the Buffalo River, going canoeing down there, and that's out in the middle of nowhere. In the middle of this river we were going, and we were camping on the edge of the river, and just in the middle of the night, just loud.
Have you ever heard coyotes?
I've
heard
coyotes.
Heard like a pack of coyotes?
It was not a pack of coyotes.
Absolutely.
Okay. Because they make some crazy sounds.
I used to live out in the country, and it was not a coyote.
I lived in the one thing we had plenty of in SoCal was coyotes. And one night, Melissa and I were at her dad's house, and it sounded like the hounds of hell.
Right, they're crazy, man.
Yeah. They killed something within 20 yards of the backyard, and you had the little babies and the adults going off for a long time. And I've heard them from a distance, but I've never heard them from that close. And yeah, it sounded like the hounds of hell. I was like, wow. So I recorded it on my phone. It was creepy as hell.
Definitely weird sounds out in the boonies.
Right? Yeah, I haven't heard the whoop. I seen a bear. Seen a fucking bear in real life. I don't want to see a bear anymore. Once was enough.
I feel like I'm done. I'm good.
Saw Yosemite. Yeah. And we did what the Rangers told us to do.
Could have been a mountain lion.
Yeah. It could have worked. It worked. We jumped up and down. They're like, jump up and down. So we did. And it just took
some
off.
Bears that don't work on.
I know. I was 14. Did what the Rangers said.
Ooh,
what do I know?
Scary.
I'd outrun that motherfucker. I was fast when I was 14. Radio Man 1017 for $5. There are mounds all over Ohio. I used to live about 3 miles from a set of them in Heath, Ohio. They've confirmed that that they aren't tombs. Don't know what. Well, I mean, they found people buried in mounds, the ones they destroyed. There used to be a giant one in it's where a shopping center is in Emeryville, California, right near Pixar, called Shell Mound. It's made of shells. And they tore that fucker down. Not all of them were tombs. No, some of them were, I guess, altars or places to look at the stars. Poverty Point is fucking huge. That's like a massive. That's in Louisiana. I definitely want to check that place out. But you look at the first look, you're like, yeah, sure, they built these mounds, and then you're like, wow, some of them are perfect circles. How'd they do that?
And a lot of them. There's a lot of perfect.
How did they do like a kilometer wide fucking octagon? Like, how did they figure that out? It's crazy. Unfortunately, in India, most of our ancient sites have been continuously inhabited because they have a zillion people living there and reproducing since prehistory. Yep. Very less evidence left on the mainland. You're right, Qui-Gon. Thank you for the 20 Indian pesos, 200 Indian pesos. Thank you. But there is a lot of trippy shit there, including the iron pole. It's not like 10,000 years old. It's like a few hundred years old that has not rusted.
Oh yeah. I've seen that.
That's weird, man. So somebody just like accidentally made the perfect iron and like, oops, can't make that again. Azores
they have those pillars in India that are like intricately designed, and it's like nobody can figure out how they were built there because they're holding up structures that are insanely old. And they're like, how did they build them under the India is a cool looking place, and I'd like to visit.
It's total mystery. That place is older than fucking old. And you're right. It's because of the people continuously living there. We'll never know, but man,
I'm trying to find those.
Looks old. There's just shit that looks old. That's like that's the other thing is where's the evidence of ancient civilizations? Like I said before, go up to Teotihuacan, go up to Bolivia, like all those, the H blocks, all that crazy shit looks old. The I can't remember what it was, the stairway. That's the stairways that are broken and upside down. And it looks like there was a massive cataclysm and there was a stone structure that just got wiped out. That thing looks fucking old. And yeah, there's an upside down stairway. There's a cave system where shit is cut so fucking perfect. It's like weird. It's weird. All right, a couple more. My throat's dying. JVL for $4.99. Azores are linked underwater. Ranges literally resemble a world serpent or seam running through the middle of our world. Ocean's head equals Atlantis. Yeah, well, that's the Not the Marianas Trench. What the big fuck here? I'll show you real quick. Where is the satellite?
Are you talking about where like the crusts
are
coming together?
Because I'm
like
I'm tired. I'm very tired, and I'm like losing like my words. But I'll show you where.
Atlantic Mid-Ocean Rift?
Ridge.
You were close there, Green.
Yeah. There you go. Look at that. So Randall's saying, Plato says that this is roughly where in this area in the middle is where Atlantis was. It was an island. There is a plateau right around this area. But he also goes across, he goes over the Azores, and he shows that there's been tons of, and like even down here in the Canary Islands, there's been tons of like flank. He calls it flank. They're afraid this is going to happen in Hawaii soon. It's like a flank of the island collapses.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And there's tons of evidence. And these flanks, like they collapse. It's an underwater landslide. It goes out miles. He goes over the whole fucking thing. But basically what he says is this thing buckled when all the fucking ice melted over here, which sank Atlantis. That's this. Yeah, he goes way in the detail. He talks about continental crust and how they found evidence of beach sand and all this other stuff. That's really fascinating. But to sum it up, ice over here on the left, over Ontario and New York, and right down here, melts and buckles all this shit.
In this season, I don't remember exactly where this was because it was such a small little portion, but it shows a map of what areas on the globe was most affected by this, right? And it was all of North America, and it went over a little bit North Africa, a little bit of the Middle East, most of Europe, but the center point was right there. Right in the center was this. So those are islands right there, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're all over. There's a plateau. Now they are pretty deep. Like a lot of stuff is pretty far down, but he argues that, well, it was higher before. If we go to the Rickhat structure, since we're here, we could probably find those.
Since we're here. Oh, there's the eye.
Current ripples. There's the eye of the Sahara. Yeah. But the current ripples were like up here. They're there. There they were. I can't find them now. I know they were north. I found them before. But what it looks like here, it just looks like a bunch of shit washed over.
It looks like sand ripples, but like you don't really fathom how large the ripples are. They're like,
I can't remember where that
massive, and
there's a meteor crater right near.
It's not just sand.
Yeah. Gotta get close. Nope, that's just sand. I don't know. Waste a bunch of time. I'll find them next show.
I think it was further towards the ocean from the structure, wasn't it? Because you're going inland here, and the structure was further west.
Oh, that looks cool.
It does. Maybe it was away from like towards here. Oh yeah, there you go. There we go. Current ripples.
Yeah, there you go. It looks like you're looking at the bottom of the ocean right there.
Yeah.
It does. And it all like spills down here.
I mean, it looks like someone just spilled a bunch of water in the middle.
It looks like, and they
right
wash.
Yeah.
They wash down into the ocean.
Oh, dude, I went like, yeah, I won't do it tonight, but I did Google Earth on Egypt for like 3 hours till my eyes almost fell out of my head.
You're just like
so much shit. But there's like a lot of impacts in Egypt. Tons. Because you can because I would look for like volcanoes and stuff. And yeah, there's tons of impacts in Egypt. It's crazy. All right. Billy D. Shilliams, when did Morocco break from Spain flooding? Now that's Now that's how the Mediterranean, that once dry land is probably Atlantis, maybe. But I think it's exactly, I agree with, now that I've watched that fucking 7-hour thing, I am totally convinced that Plato was not, it was not a story. It wasn't made up. He was passing on some history. Probably didn't get everything right, including like the gods punishing, man's hubris. Yeah. I think it was just a cataclysm, and they just interpret it as the gods punishing man's hubris. Yeah. Atlantis could be more than a city, but an empire similar to Rome, thus makes places picked for Atlantis could be just Atlantean. I completely agree with that. I think Atlantis is just the name for the mother culture, and the mother culture influenced Egypt, heavily influenced Egypt, and many other cultures, I believe. The Bob that God made mad for $9.99. Have you guys heard of the Great Unconformity? A period ranging hundreds of millions of years that is missing from the geological strata. No, it's another curiosity of prehistory that I'm going to look up right after the show.
Just missing?
It's just missing, like hundreds of millions of years missing from the geological strata.
Oh, I have heard of this. So imagine you've got these layers building up over time, right?
Yeah.
You would never see the layers that get blown away. So imagine there's like a whole layer builds up and then it gets blown away for whatever reason from a cataclysm or something like that, blows away that strata, and then it starts building back up. That's a big chunk that you're missing. So I think that's the theory, is that there's possibly a whole chunk missing because of events.
But would it be uniform around the entire globe?
I don't know if the theory applies to everywhere or if it's just a select area of the globe.
Yeah, I don't think it can be uniform. Like,
right.
Exactly. That would be.
I feel like it'd be provable. Like if you do some core sampling here and then here.
I'm trying to remember where that story came from.
I mean, eventually, if the Earth doesn't blow up, if the sun doesn't, all the crust is gonna, it all moves.
Yeah, it all is gonna be reset eventually.
Somewhere. Yeah. What's up? Mike S. Miller, Blacklist Universe for $10.
What's up, Mike?
The dude built a coral castle in Florida, cut and moved multi-ton blocks alone. He knew the secrets of the pyramids. Yeah, he was a skinny little Slavic guy, and supposedly did it all for a woman.
I'm so mad. I lived in the Redlands, and in between my house where I lived and Miami was the Coral Castle, and I drove like past the sign Coral Castle this way, and I never went to check it out. And now I'm like, damn it! Like, why didn't I go check it out?
Should have
right
done
there.
it. Damn it! We'll add it to our list.
The Sumerians, current day Iraq area, older than Egyptians, yes, had perfect representation of the solar system in their hieroglyphics. Yes, they did. Absolutely. How did they know about it when telescopes weren't even invented then? Andrew Hugh for $10 Australian. Very good question. Mother civilization. Sarah Connor. Sarah Connor for $10 says, hey, brohams, do you know about the biggest terrorist attack in American history? It's the reason the U.S. became involved in World War I. Something is retroactively changing history. See Black Tom explosion. I will check it out. You never know. Mathematically speaking, alien life is a certainty. There is no way we are alone in the universe. I've seen some weird stuff when I was in the Corps, says Ghost Rider for $5. Yeah, I've seen too much weird stuff too. You know, there's weird stuff. There's weird stuff. All right, we're gonna wrap it up there. If I miss some, X-Ray Girl will find them and we'll answer them next show. So we'll be back next week. 9 o'clock.
We will.
Hell yeah. I'm gonna watch the whole thing again. I'm gonna listen to
Me too. Yeah. I just watched it and soaked in as much as I could. Now I'm gonna watch it again and maybe like jot some stuff down. You know,
take some notes, dive a little deeper.
Yeah. Like do some more research about certain things that I was like, well, what about that? Hold on, I want to know more about that. So I'm gonna do that for next time.
Yeah, and to Randall Carlson and Graham Handcock, we appreciate you guys. Love you guys, man.
Thank
Love
you.
what you're doing.
Come on the show, guys.
It's really interesting. It's highly entertaining, and it's a great. We need people. Graham Handcock has the best line that I steal all the time: "Is the world needs heretics."
Yeah,
you know, the world needs heretics, and we are.
That should be on a shirt.
Yep. So yeah, that was good. That was fun, guys.
Hell yeah.
A quick 2-hour show.
Yeah, sure. It
4 hours later.
4 hours.
We had great audience participation, man. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Can't
You guys
complain.
are awesome. And yeah, your homework, Mr. Crigler, will be to get some audiobooks or books. So get Fingerprints of the Gods.
Yeah, I was looking at that.
Magicians of the Gods and America Before.
I'm gonna start that.
Fingerprints of the Gods.
Yeah, maybe
Fingerprints
that's
was
his
the first
one,
right?
Yeah. Fingerprints. All right, that's the one I'm gonna get first.
So it will get into the weeds of all the stuff you were curious about. But remember, this prior to Göbekli Tepe, and then
that's interesting. I'm very curious to see how he summed up all that stuff before knowing about Göbekli Tepe. You know, because like that's pretty huge.
And then that big puzzle piece just slides right into it.
Right. Cool.
It's amazing. So thanks everyone. Thanks to the Nerdrotics. You did a great job tonight. Thanks to everyone who left super chat donation. You help keep the lights on. If we missed any super chats again, we'll just hit them up next week. And thanks to my co-host Adam Crigler and quarterback Garrett. Adam, would you like to plug anything, sir?
Sure. Tune in tomorrow. I have a show with Garrett. Garrett joins me every Monday for Based Af Mondays. A lot of fun. George the Giant Slayer also joins. Darth Call, Flawdzilla, and then Andreas Exertus. I mentioned him earlier. He's the most far out of the group, but it is a lot of fun. We talk about whatever the heck is going on and have a good time doing it. I also go live every day, Monday through Friday, 6:30 Eastern time on my channel. It's the Crigler Show. I also stream on Rumble, and I've been dual streaming, and it's wonderful because I cut the YouTube stream off, and I get to take the filter off, and I get to just talk about everything that I want to talk about, and I'm not allowed to talk about, and I've gotten 9 strikes on YouTube for talking about. It is glorious. So I feel free, and it's wonderful. And also check out my coffee company, KriglerCoffee.com. Freshest coffee that you can get. It's roasted after you order it, and you can't get anything fresher. So check it out.
That's awesome. Crigler Coffee. Quarterback Garrett.
Hey, man, it's been good chilling, talking about this stuff with 2 of my favorite people on the internet and in real life. I really love you guys. And you can find me on my channel and on my locals, where I do 2 streams a week over there. So please go follow over there. Consider supporting. I appreciate it. And tomorrow, you can find me on Based Af Mondays with Adam and the crew over there. And I also play D&D after that show on the Geeks and Gamers channel, the Geeks and Gamers tabletop. And I think that's it until Wednesday, where I am going to do a stream on my channel. So thanks, everybody. You've been a good chat, as always.
Great chat. I don't know what I'm doing next.
What are we doing?
Just put out a video today, so
please go watch it.
Please clap.
Please clap.
Same energy, Garrett. I'm just saying.
Please go watch it.
Please clap.
Yeah, that sounded a little desperate, dude. It's like,
well, I spent my whole Saturday on it, so please go watch it. It's fun though. I love it. I love editing videos. Like coming over to the Nerd Crew, I do a whole lot more editing. Before I didn't do editing, I did a lot of like live engineering and stuff, and it's really fun to do this editing and throwing in stupid jokes and stuff.
No, you do a great job though.
It's fun. Thank you.
He does a great job. No, I mean, I kind of miss like when I'm going through the recording, I'm like, oh, that would be a good clip here. Or you just like where you do that ad, you did some very good ad libs.
Thank you. And then along with Perry's great clips that he put together.
Perry's a freaking G.
We have a great team we got over here on the
you guys,
nerd
you
side.
Guys like really teamed up very well on the last video. That's and not much made the cutting room floor. I actually there was one thumb that I like. I can't. Maybe I'll show it to you tomorrow on a live stream. I'm like, that one might be going a little too far.
Yeah. You gotta cross the line to know where the line is.
Yeah, I was laughing my ass off though. I mean, like for minutes. after watching it. I'm like, but they can get me on this one. They can. Or they try. I wouldn't give a fuck, but like, yeah, I want to keep Perry out of trouble. I take full responsibility. I'm the one who okays all that shit. So, no, I think it was Bree's bald head on. That was my idea. No, that was his idea. Was that?
That was his idea.
That was his idea.
No, it was his idea, and he was like, "Oh, I don't mean it. This is just a joke."
And I'm like, no, we got to do this.
That's the one.
Yes, that's the one.
I got to watch that.
It was a fun video to make. I never want to watch that movie again. Like it's
no. I don't think I want to watch it, and I'm gonna just watch it vicariously through your video.
That's the way.
Yeah.
I can't see people like rushing back to see it after seeing it once. I could be wrong, but it's really boring. It's really boring. It's not even like the worst. I mean, like all of Phase 4 sucked. Like all except for No Way Home. That was good. So all of Marvel Phase 4 sucked. You just kind of pick your poison, but I wouldn't call it the worst. I still think Eternals is the worst.
Yeah, I saw. Who was it? Chris Gore was like, "It's worse than Eternals." I was like, I don't know. Eternals was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. This was just boring and blah. Like, yeah.
But it's worse than
pretty boring.
It's worse than Doctor Strange and Thor. It is.
I didn't see any. Honestly,
really they're all like right there.
I think Spider-Man's the only Phase 4 movie that I did see.
Oh, that's good. Then you saw the good one.
Yeah, that's it.
Stop there.
Stop right there. All right. Thanks, everyone. See you next Sunday. Here on Nerdrotic Live. So subscribe here, and that's where the paranormal stuff is going to be.
Oh yeah.
And once we get everything together and have a name and all the info on the podcast and everything, we'll let you know. You'll be the first to know. So bye, everybody.
See you next time.
See you.